Maybe 15 million Chinese are listening to the podcast right now. Oh,
But
very inscrutable they are.
very good intel here. The mind seller.
So we might not have many followers here, but over in China we have 15 million followers.
That's right. I don't know what the currency is. That might only, amount to like 6 followers American. What's the exchange rate on followers?
So all of you in China, listen. Buy Run Chan's good Chinese beef.
15 yen.
the
Very good
best,
meat.
the best beef you can buy
Oh, fuck.
in
Beef.
Peking.
Beef. Oh, man. Sauteed cat, as my pap would say. Fortnite's been fucking terrible. But I did look it up, though, before you come up. Fortnite, as it sits right now, is $30 billion value. $30 billion in Fortnite. Like I said, most of the shareholders are Disney, but they sold out most of their company, but they're just sitting back making money now. Yeah, they don't have to fucking do anything.
$30 billion value from a kid's game.
Well, like I said, I mean, look at the endorsements that they have. I mean, like with the music thing, they had Metallica in there. I mean, been a bunch of stupid rappers. They had Eminem in there. I mean, Keanu Reeves. I mean, a little bit of like the licensing that they would have to go through to get permission to use that stuff, use the music, use just the royalty. I mean, just the money involved in the contracts. Like I said, Disney now owns like DC Comics, Marvel. I mean, they own Fortnite essentially. Like it's
The whole
huge.
Star Wars thing.
Yeah,
And
Star Wars too, right? That's why you see a Star Wars collab every single time on Fortnite. Every single season, there's a Star Wars, some kind of crossover. And it's because it's just further, pushing their product. It's crazy to see. That's why I'm so surprised to see Sheetz did a crossover with Fortnite, because you would think Sheetz is like this big compared to all these other big companies and names that have been in Fortnite. Like, it's kind of surprising to see Sheetz.
it's a tie-in because Sheetz wants to get their name in there so that they're known.
But how do you even make that? I mean, like I said, like Sheetz is a family-owned business, and like I said, they're only in a couple states, so it's like, how do you even make that connection? Like, they just call fucking Fortnite up, like that's just. I was like, I thought it was fake when I read it, but it was on local fucking news. Like they advertised on local news that they're doing this collaboration and they're giving away $25,000.
Well, Sheetz calls up and they buy in on it and say we want to be in on this.
Yeah, they'd have to
And
pay, right?
so Fortnite or whoever owns Fortnite or the company that has Fortnite says, okay, you pay us and we'll let you in on this. So they're charging Sheetz to be in there, to have their name affiliated with them.
Yeah, and they made them like a whole map. Like there's a whole separate map, from the normal one that we play on. And it's all Sheetz.
So I would think they're charging Sheetz to be in on the game.
Yeah. They're probably getting a tax on that 25 grand they're giving away or something.
Yeah, and so then I would think, I don't know, I'm just.
Yeah, like I said, there's very little engagement. I just found a video. This only has 1,000 views on it, which is pretty small in the YouTube realm. But this is like the trailer, so this will show you what it is in game.
A Sheetz run can be a lot of things.
I think we should try it. 25 grand.
Yeah.
And second place is like 10 grand. And then it goes down periodically to 10th place is 1,000. But I mean, fuck, for a chance. I mean, to play a video game.
Like still 1,000. 1,000 is 1,000.
Dude, I'd be happy to win $20. Yeah, the lowest prize that you can get is $100 in Fortnite money. Which, like I said, in V-Bucks, that's like 14,000 V-Bucks. So you'd essentially, you'd be Fortnite rich.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was pretty cool because that's local to us, and I didn't, that was the last thing I expected. Even money prize aside, it's still pretty cool to see that happening.
Yeah, so you wonder if, over in India, if they're doing this.
I wonder.
Because what is Sheetz in India?
I mean, I know by just traveling around that, like, once you get out of Pennsylvania and Ohio or, like, below North Carolina, it's Wawas and shit. You know, there's not even Sheetz as far as, like, right, Circle K, right, and all that. So,
Yeah.
like, I mean, Sheetz is really just an East Coast thing, and it's not even like it's not even in Florida or anywhere.
No, it's just it's right here.
Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, so like I said, as globally huge as Fortnite is, I was like, what the fuck? Yeah, like they're doing a thing with Sheets. So I mean, yeah, who knows? Yeah, maybe we'll send them an email. Let's do a Block City map. We're not giving away any money though. I would buy her a new car. I know that
Yeah.
for a fact. I'd probably buy you a new car too. Yeah, just guys. Yeah,
I don't know. Vicky loves that Jeep.
but just one to easy on gas, just so you can buzz
Yeah,
back and
yeah.
forth. You know, get you like I wonder what the maximum amount you can get a Sheets card for. That would be the right way to spend it. Give it back to Sheets.
Sheesh.
I'll buy you a smart car. Get you like 120 miles to the gallon
Right.
if you can get in it. If you can fit in it, you'll never run out.
Yeah. Are we talking one of those little French cars?
Yeah, that's like a
Yeah.
Fiat, but yeah, same size.
No. Thanks.
Compacted,
No,
compact.
no. Those French cars, it's like there's your coffin waiting for you. You
Oh
get in
my
an accident,
God.
you're just gonna die in the car. They might as well just bury you in the car.
I'd be
It's the
terrified
size
to
of a
ride in
coffin.
one.
They're not.
Oh.
Those are European cars. They aren't made for the highways of America.
So they don't have highways over there. They don't have like an interstate system. Nothing. Wow. Boy, that'd be a trip.
No, all those roads were laid down like 100 years ago.
Jeez. Did you?
Our interstates were laid down like when President Eisenhower was elected. Well, they have interstates in like Germany. All right,
Okay.
they have the
Yeah,
Autobahn.
Autobahn. Yeah,
They have
right.
the Autobahn, and he was impressed with the Autobahn in Germany, and he said, "Man,
Eh.
America needs something like that." So he came back here to America, and so he got a highway system put in for America because
Really?
before
That's how
that,
it came to be.
yeah, because otherwise people just traveled back roads all across America.
Right.
And so he got the highway system, the interstate system put in for America. And so we owe all of that to President Eisenhower.
Ah, and that wasn't that long ago.
No. In fact, I-80 got put in like 1972.
Is that it? Holy shit. You feel like that's been around for 100 years.
No,
70s.
they built that in like 1970s.
Well, speaking of thinking things happened a long time ago, even Pablo Picasso, to me in my brain that happened, you know, in like 1800s. He was a lot. He like died in the 80s.
Yeah.
You know, he was like listening to fucking Journey and shit.
Yeah,
Like,
you think, oh, old Pablo Picasso and that old art of his. No. His fairly recent, yes.
I was like, wait a minute, that was like not that long. I mean, that was not that long ago at all. I mean, that's your lifetime, Pablo
Yeah.
Picasso. I'm
Yeah.
like, you gotta be kidding me. That sounds like to me like, you know, Michelangelo or you know something like that. Because even Salvador Dali was in like the 20s, you know. But yeah, shit,
20s and 30s.
he was listening to the classics.
Yeah, that's just when you're
Drinking Mountain Dew.
when
Mountain Dew.
you're great, when your art is great, then people think you're like there with the masters, like
Right,
people who painted the 16 and 1700s.
right, just
See,
timeless.
you could do paintings that people would put up there with the masters, and people would say, "Oh, yeah, that Rhett Atwood, he was a master." And they'll think,
I
"Oh man,
fucking hope.
that Rhett, oh, I just disconnected. Oh, no, there I am. That Rhett Atwood, he was a great one."
Oh,
When
I
did he
hope.
live? 1750? 1850? You're like, no, I'm Rhett Atwood.
Yeah, I'm not
Oh,
even
sure
dead.
you are.
Yeah,
You mean
I'm right here.
you mean you're Rhett Atwood's grandson? No, I'm Rhett Atwood.
Oh fuck!
Here, I'll do a painting for you right now. Yeah, sure you will. Get out
Shut
of
up, you
here.
old man.
You ain't Rhett Atwood.
You old hoot.
Rhett Atwood was a classical painter. You can't be Rhett Atwood.
Oh fuck! I could only hope. Yeah, that's the thing that like always I'm like, man, what am I doing? No artist is ever famous or ever worth anything until long after they're dead.
You should take an art class.
I should honestly, just to keep me sharp.
Yeah,
You know?
it'll improve the skills you have. You should
Well,
learn. You should learn to paint.
Well, and that's what I was gonna say. My problem is that once I started tattooing, I stopped paying attention to stuff on paper and on canvas. Like I always need to get that foot back into like doing actual paintings and even drawing because like I spend so much time just getting stuff ready to be tattooed. I almost feel almost exhausted to like work on something for myself. I don't even know where to start sometimes. So like I try to do something super simple, and then it just ends up getting far too away from me, and then I never finish it. Like I've got stuff that's like 75% finished, laying all over the place. Because it's hard to capture that too. I mean, like, but I can do it with a tattoo, like, because a tattoo's weird. I might start a tattoo, and it's like if I would start a drawing and then just stop halfway through it and then not finish it for 4 months. Like because that's how a tattoo is. Sometimes they come right back and get it finished in a couple weeks, but sometimes financial constraints, keep them. Some like these people that we tattoo, um, I think they're married, husband and wife, but yeah, we haven't seen them in a year. So it's like there's a year between the last time that I worked on this piece and now. So it's like you got to be able to pick up where you left off, even if it's a year in between. So it's a little bit weird. It's like I said, it's like if I sat down to start a drawing and then was like, okay, I'm going to finish that in a year from now. It's a strange thing.
Okay, Leonardo da Vinci began work on the Mona Lisa in 1503,
What?
and it was in his studio when he died in 1519. He worked on the Mona Lisa for years.
Holy shit.
He didn't paint the Mona Lisa in like 2 days.
Right.
He
Holy
worked
fuck.
on the Mona Lisa for years.
Man.
There are layers of paint to the Mona
Yeah,
Lisa.
I'd
I
like to
mean,
go see it.
he did a painting and he painted over that and added to it and added to it and added
Right.
to it and added to it and added to it. It
Well,
took him years to paint the Mona Lisa.
well, that is one nice thing that is nice about paint is that you can just keep more layers on top of it and keep making
Until
adjustments.
you improve it to where it's perfection.
Right.
Just add shading and this and that, and the other and stuff. But he worked on the Mona Lisa for years
Yeah, I never knew that.
until he came up with the grand master that is the Mona Lisa. And the Mona Lisa was actually it's painted on wood and it's actually just a little tiny thing.
I actually seen I seen a photograph of where it's displayed, and they of course have red velvet ropes and a line,
It's behind
corrugated to
glass
it.
and shit.
But
You
I
can't
was like,
even get
holy
close to
shit,
it.
it's really much smaller than I thought it would be. Like you think it's some huge
He
work of
painted
art.
I heard he was painted for some guy. He was painted for some French guy, for some French nobleman to hang it in his bathroom.
Eh,
It was like the French nobleman's daughter or something.
how weird. And it was probably like I always think about this too, like like oh, this great piece of work, and he's probably like that shit. You like that shit? That shit's
If
garbage.
Leonardo da Vinci could realize what people would think of it, how people would treasure it now, he was like,
Right.
that,
That's what I'm
that,
remembered for.
that thing.
That's all I had to do. I didn't have to paint that fucking, like, oh my god. You just want me to paint some shit like that? Holy hell, that was just some throwaway shit.
But he worked on it for years before, and it was still in his studio when he died.
So he never, he probably essentially never finished it, was never satisfied with it because he obviously never gave it to the guy that it was for.
No,
No, it ain't ready yet. And the
yeah,
guy that it was probably for probably died.
no. In fact, I'll bet he was never completely satisfied with it. That's why it was still in his studio.
Right, he just never was ready to give it up.
It was never a totally finished piece of work. I could just talk, and people would go, for years, people used to say, "You got an FM voice. You got a radio voice."
Eh,
I'm like, yeah, whatever. But it's just
you're just talking to you, right?
I'm just talking. I don't know what you're talking about. I've always talked like this. This is just me talking. What are you
Well,
talking
and
about?
especially then,
What are you talking about, man?
because you grew up in the era of radio. So I mean, like to have somebody say that, that's like, telling somebody that you'd be a great actor or something. Because like in all honesty, like radio was where everybody was getting all their information, all their music, all their news, all the disc jockeys. So I mean, like
Yeah,
you really came up in the time.
and then the FCC goes, and I go to school and I get a license, and then the FCC goes and spoils the whole thing by saying, "Oh, you don't really need a license to be on radio." So every asshole gets on the radio and doesn't even have a voice, and they sound terrible. And it's like,
That's an interesting point you make, because I was actually going to ask you. I mean, because we talked about this before, how difficult it was for someone, like if you wanted to get into broadcasting, you had to either have a broadcasting degree or you had to have some kind of
you had a
experience.
broadcasting degree, and you would go down to a radio station, and you would intern at a radio station, and which means you did all the scut work at a radio station.
You're like the grunt.
And you were the grunt, and then they would work you into like an overnight shift, and you do an overnight shift at a radio station, and then
Probably
they would,
because low listeners,
yeah,
you're just
yeah,
kind of keeping
and
things rolling.
they'd work you at night, and then when you worked at night, then they'd work you into a day shift, and stuff like that.
Yeah, that would have been cool, man. Just to be in an old radio station, recording studio, like you talk about, just having, I mean, it's actually access to every piece of music you could imagine. I mean, just everything, a whole song library.
Oh, I was working at 96.1 91.3 KXCI. We had like 80,000 albums.
Oh, shit. And that might not sound like a lot to some people, like, because I can hold whatever 50,000 songs on my phone, but like to have that music physical and like you can touch it and it's got to be, it's taking up space. That's a lot of fucking music.
We were in this big old like Victorian house, and the whole upstairs, we had this one guy who had autism or something, but he knew where you could ask him for any piece of music, and he knew exactly where he could go and find that album upstairs. He could go upstairs and he could find that album for you and bring it down to you. He knew where
Wow.
every piece of music was in the record collection.
Like like a
Everything.
Quasimodo of the record, fucking
Yeah,
like
yeah.
up in the attic. And he knows where everything.
Yeah, he knew where everything was. Anything and everything. He knew where it was exactly.
Wow, man, that's it's just a different world. So it's like now, it's completely different now. Literally anybody, just like us, can just decide tomorrow. Hey, I have a voice. I'm gonna put it out there. I can put it on Facebook, YouTube. I can put it on Spotify.
They don't even think they have a voice. They just think, oh, I'm just going to go down and disc jockey.
It's just it's totally different. So like, okay. In a lot of cases, I think it makes it better, just because obviously we're sitting here able to do this with no FCC over our backs and no team to answer to. But at the same time, then you lower the quality because anybody and everybody thinks they've got it, and everybody has got an opinion. So it's like, it's the good with the bad. At least back then there was at least a filter to where like you had to be at least good if you were on the air and you were talking to people on the radio. Like you had to have some kind of background or at least some personality, because you might have been able to come in there just fucking vacuuming floors and they say, hey man, you got the good voice, man. You ever think about what I mean? Like you could work yourself into maybe a daylight spot without having a bunch of experience.
You're like, yeah, let me on the mic and let me say a little something.
Some people just have the talent. But now now anybody can do it. So it's different. I would like to see you have a show, because there's a lot of things that you could talk about, and now it's like you could literally have your own news station. And then I don't know if you've been following any of this. I'm sure you've seen some of the news, but now the White House is allowing independent media in. So it used to be either have to be affiliated with CNN or NBC or a big name network or something. You had to be a journalist with a press pass and all this shit. Now they're opening the doors to anybody. You still got to get clearances, obviously FBI, Secret Service, and all that. They got to make sure you're safe. But anybody that wants to produce news content, whether it's on YouTube, TikTok, anything, they can apply for a fucking press pass, and you are responsible for getting yourself to the White House. But if we actually wanted to like cover some real news stuff, we could actually just Joe Schmoes be sitting in the White House press briefing room asking fucking questions. I mean, that's something I never thought I'd see in the world.
Yeah,
They're just
but
regular people.
But if Trump doesn't like the questions you ask, then you're immediately thrown out. And
Well, it'll be whoever his press secretary is. Obviously, that's who does the fucking White House briefings or whatever. But pretty interesting. You know, like I said, and obviously they vet you to make sure, like, you're producing legitimate news content, but it's not based on like your audience. You don't have to have like a bunch of followers or a big audience. You don't got to be a professional. Anybody that's interested in covering the news, they're essentially allowing anybody to apply it. So it's kind of cool. Like I said, I don't know if I'd
That
ever had
is
interest.
that is interesting.
I mean, to think that, like I said, like if you really wanted to cover that kind of stuff and that's something you wanted to do, you could hop in your car right now. You could actually go and you could be interviewing and taking questions right at the White House. Like what a step up without having to go through all these normal channels that you would have had to go through before. Like work at a fucking news network from the bottom up, get into a spot, be invited. Like the whole landscape's changed for media. It's kind of amazing.
The DBP News Network.
Yeah, see? What is it? DV? Wait.
The,
Oh, okay, that's your initials.
David Blair Polanich News Network.
Yeah, DB, right? DB.
DBP News Network. Yes. So, Mr. Trump. Well,
And you could add. I mean, like, it also is cool too because that shows you that they are willing to take really anybody's questions, a real human being's questions. You know what I mean? They're not pre-screening questions.
yeah, but is Trump going to be doing this thing like he did last time where he thinks everyone is fake news? Fake news, fake news, fake news, fake news, fake news, fake news,
I'm
fake
hoping
news.
that's all done. Like I think now, like, because really what the problem is like we need to just stop fact checking everybody, like on both sides. Because him doing the same thing, tell everybody that it's not true and fake, like when he doesn't know fucking anything either. He's not there in real time looking it up and seeing, okay, is what they're saying true and doing the research. You know what I mean? Like nobody's really doing the research. And same thing when they implemented all that fact checking during the debate. Like you still have to believe that the person who created the fact check is being honest because there's a good chance that that person has a side.
Yeah, but
So
when you start calling ABC, CBS, and CNN fake news, it's like I don't think so. I mean, these are
fake fake is the wrong word. I would say maybe favoritism. There's clear favoritism, but I mean, there's people on both sides. Fox News would be the same thing. Like a lot of people could say Fox News would be fake news because they're pro-Trump. It's just that they're not for him. So the easiest way to dismiss it is to say you're fake. You know what I mean? It's just like if like a tattoo artist. Okay, it's like when I came into the game, I mean, I didn't know shit from Shinola. I didn't know anything. And like of course, all of the people that were more experienced than me and were whether afraid of my business or me coming up and taking theirs, he's fake, he's a scratcher, he's not a real artist. You know what I mean? That so devalue me so that nobody, like essentially steal your credibility. So that's all he's got to do is if I say fake news, then everybody that is pro Trump is going to think, oh, well, everything they say is fake. So that's all it is. Like it's just like it needs to stop on both sides. Like it's ridiculous. But because all they would like, I would even see it too. Like where like I mean, he would be on the air and they would just shut it off. They like wouldn't even cover him speaking either. So it's like that's never happened either in any sense. I don't think where like a president or a presidential candidate was like speaking or having like an address to the nation. They're just like, we're not going to watch this. We're not going to cover this. Like they just weren't giving it the airtime. So I mean, it's just like it really needs to stop. I mean, like they just need to cover whatever's happening. There's no need to make shit up. Yeah, it's just like just tired of it. I'm glad that he's at least like I said, just because my main thing is safety. Because we're not that far from like these places like New York City and Philly where these immigrants and all this crime is and all this homeless population like that needed to be cleaned up a long time ago. I mean, like you look at California and places how unsafe and disgusting that is. Like I mean, in L.A. and stuff, like it's bad. That needs to be
well,
fixed a long time ago.
at least he's going in and rounding up a lot of these illegal immigrants and deporting them. And
Can you believe how easy they're finding them? Like that shows you that they knew where these people were at, and these people weren't hiding because they knew that nobody was coming to pick them up. Like I don't know why they didn't scurry and hide whenever they knew Trump was coming into office. Maybe they just didn't believe he was going to do it. But like for the last couple of years, nobody's been arresting them. I mean, like they just been, like they just been coming in.
It's true. They've been living on the easy street, like well, yeah, I'm illegal, and everyone knows I'm illegal, but no one's coming after us. So what the hell? But now suddenly Trump comes into office, and boom, we're arresting all you motherfuckers. What are you gonna do? You
We
know?
can't sustain it. And like I said, it's only a matter of time before they start trickling out of those big cities and start coming into the smaller rural areas. It's just, I mean, we've seen, buses and buses of, what looked like Mexicans and stuff like that, like at McDonald's and shit. Like, it's a little bit scary. Like, I mean, I don't care what color your skin is or what your race is, but I mean, we do know that most of these people are not being vetted. And even the ones that they do come to find out that are criminals or maybe escaping justice in their home country, they just catch and release them. They're just, meh.
Okay, okay. A busload of illegals show up in Burndale.
I'm telling you,
What are they gonna do in Burndale? Okay,
hide.
what are they gonna do in St. Mary's?
I don't know.
All right.
I don't want to know.
They can get away with this in New York City, but they can't get away with this in Burndale. They can't get away with this in St. Mary's. They can't get away with this in
You wouldn't
DuBois.
think, but
I mean, sure enough, they stick out like a sore thumb in white bread Brookville.
yeah, yeah, that
And
wouldn't be a good
so
place to go.
it's easy for the border patrol to show up, round them all up, and get rid of them.
Speaking of which, all jokes aside, they actually did do some rounding up in St. Mary's and in DuBois. I forgot to even mention this. She didn't tell you?
No.
So there's a company called Taco Inc., which they not that long ago opened up a place in St. Mary's. It's literally right beside Sheetz. Well, apparently they have a couple other locations. There's one in DuBois, and I think the other one's in Punxsutawney. Well, simultaneously, all at the same time, all three locations were raided quietly by ICE, and people were taken out.
Oh,
Like
really?
that was local. Yeah, I don't know if I'd be able to find on you, but yeah, she's the one who found it. People that she's friends with on Facebook were taking pictures of them, like it was happening in real time, like black SUVs, and they just come in and they didn't ask any questions. They just you. Like I mean, they know exactly who you're looking for. They know exactly where they're at. Like,
See, now here's the other thing I wonder about. If they round these people up and they take them away, why don't the employers get fined? It's like you hire these people, they're illegal. Why didn't you ask for their social security cards when you hired them?
yeah, I wondered that too, because of course when that happened, we looked to see if Taco Inc. was still open, and they were. Because I was thinking the same thing. Was he like a ringleader? Was like the company itself just hiring a bunch of people with cheap labor? Because there's got to be some kind of penalty for that, because there's a process. They have to make sure that you're a citizen and you fill out paperwork and application. So I mean, like, are they just hiring people maybe under the table? But in this situation, I mean, if I was an American, I mean, like, and I was just employing a bunch of illegals and they come in to round them all up, and I didn't, I just, hey, maybe they're just giving them a free pass. I don't know. Yeah,
Because when I first moved, when Vicky brought me back to Brookville years and years ago, when Laura was like in middle school and stuff,
yeah.
I realized Brookville was the most white bread community I had ever been in my
Oh
life.
yeah.
It is like so white
From
bread
young
there.
to old too. I mean,
It's
like,
like,
there was not even any African American people in
oh
Brookville my
no,
whole time.
there's one family, there's one black family that lived there.
Oh really?
Yeah, that was it.
I guess
But
I remember a couple. I mean, a couple kids like Samantha Vega and a couple of like our friends and stuff like that were like. I think
yeah,
they were Mexican though. They weren't like.
yeah. But it was like as white bread as you can get. It was like Wonder Bread.
Well, in middle of the Pennsylvania's, I think been like that for a long time. It's like when you get on the outskirts, you think about like, I mean, probably Harrisburg. I don't hear about Harrisburg as much though, but like Pittsburgh and Philly, especially. I mean, like it's always been bad. It's really
But
fucking
see,
bad.
that's why illegals cannot hang out in the middle of Pennsylvania because it's just too white here. It's
Yeah, they
whiter.
would
It's
they would
whiter.
stick out,
It's white like a sheet of
and
paper.
they're probably not too good at camping. I don't know. I
No,
mean, I
no.
don't know.
So I mean,
Yeah.
illegals can they can survive really well in Tucson because it's just
Well,
60 miles from the border, so everyone's Mexican down there.
I will say this though. Are they really fucking walking here? Like, I mean, some of these people are like coming across like 5 fucking countries. They're like crossing like through 5 other continents to get here. I mean, like,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
talk about.
No, they hike
I
from
mean,
Colombia all the way up through Central America and up, and they hike all the way up through Mexico, all the way up to the border. They
I mean,
hike all the way up
the fact that they're
to the border, and then they hike across the border. They hike all the way up through the isthmus and through Mexico and everything to get across the border. They hike all the
I mean,
way.
that is hard to imagine.
Yeah,
And I mean,
no,
just
that's how badly they want to escape the country they're
well,
in
and just
and
imagine the
want to come live to the
troves of
United States.
people, because it's just probably just like a swarm. It probably looks like ants if you're looking at it
Yeah,
from high,
no,
not like.
it's like a huge train of people hiking up. Yeah, and
I mean, that is
that's how
unreal.
bad they want to come live. That's
Well,
how
and
much they want to
arguably,
be in the United States. We are blessed to be born in the United States.
oh, we're absolutely lucky for sure to be
I mean,
American.
when I was a little kid going to that Catholic school, the nuns used to say, "You don't know how blessed you are to live in the United States." And I'd be like, "Yeah, all right, sure, whatever,
Place sucks.
whatever, nun, sure, whatever. I'll bet I am. Yeah, sure I am." But yeah,
Yeah, you
we
really
we
don't know how lucky you are.
we're real lucky to live here in the United States because everyone and his brother will hike thousands of miles
Oh,
to
and
cross
die.
the
I mean,
border.
I can only imagine how many of them
Oh, and
die walking here or trying to get
oh,
here.
and then when you get to the border, is the Sonoran Desert. You can't hike in that desert for more than if you're hiking without water, you die.
What? I mean, I guess how far is it? It's probably a pretty big fucking desert. Huh?
No, it's a desert, but it's like if you hike without water, not drinking water for an hour or two while you're hiking through that desert kills you. You die if you don't have water. I used to hike there as a Boy Scout, and I used to carry gallons of water with me while
Oh
I was
yeah.
hiking to be drinking water constantly because if you don't stay hydrated, you die.
Well, what's the temperature? I mean, I guess I forget about that too.
108,
You're just
110,
perspirating nonstop, probably. So you probably just get dehydrated
100,
immediately.
110. Now it's gone up even higher. Now it's 115 in the
Oh my
summertime.
god. Because that sauna that I have, it gets to about maybe 100, 105, and I'm like flush. I mean, like I literally take water in with me because I get to the point where like I'm just fucking empty.
We're talking 110, 115, 9% humidity. So it feels like you're walking in a goddamn oven.
Oh, I could imagine. That would be it. I mean, just in all around you too, because I mean, it's the fucking sun.
It's all around you,
There's
and
no
there is.
shade at all.
I was just about to say there is absolutely no shade whatsoever, and everything is hot, hot, hot. The rocks radiate the heat. The ground radiates the heat.
All right, it's just
I
bouncing
mean,
back up at you. So,
I mean, down on the ground, it feels like a frying pan. It's hot as shit. It's hot and miserable. The best time to travel is travel at night.
well, does it get like deadly cold at night? Like when the sun goes down, is it a
Oh,
massive temperature drop?
no, well, like in the summertime, it gets to be 112. At night, the temperature drops down to maybe 85 or 90 degrees.
Oh, okay. I was thinking it would get down. Like,
No,
okay.
the cold it gets down to is 85 or 90.
Oh, wow. Hey, if you've made it this far, maybe you consider checking out one of our sponsors, Chicken Hawk Designs or Black City Tattoo. Check them out on Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube. The southern border, but I mean, they had actually found out that, well, how they explained it was that through the northern border, the number of crossings into the United States has increased 600% in the last 4 years. So, like, whatever number is, but they were averaging, like, I mean, a couple thousand crossings a day. I mean, like, 2,000 people coming across. I mean, that's hard to imagine. And, like, it was anywhere from, like, I think, like, 10,000 came across at one time in one day. I mean, like across northern and southern borders, like that number of people is hard to imagine. Like you think about a stadium like full of people for a football game. What is that? 10, 20?
10,000.
That's 10,000
Yeah,
people.
The community center in Tucson, where I saw all the concerts, held 10,000 people.
Oh my! I mean, that's a load of people. You think to fill a stadium, and that's just day. That's just one day's number. I mean, that's just so many people. So like they said, I mean, because he said that on average he would like to be deporting 1,500 people a day. But even that number, they said if you want to account for I think it's like 19 million people that they know that came across in the last 4 years. If you wanted to make up for that number, you would have to be deporting like 20,000 a day to make up for it. So like 1,500 isn't even going to make a drop in the bucket.
All
Like,
right, if you're deporting 20,000, all right, and if you can get like a couple of hundred on a plane, that's
yeah,
five
right. How
jets.
many fit on a fucking plane? They had
Yeah,
the military planes,
yeah,
those big military
So you
planes,
put
but
200
still.
people on a plane and fly it out of here. That's 5 planes for 1,000.
Oh.
So that's five for 1,000 times. Yeah, 100 planes could fly 20,000 people out of here.
A lot of gas.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's think of the money that the government has to
Uh,
spend to fly those people out of here.
It's gonna
And
be
you're
a
flying
lot.
them to where?
Apparently all over the world. I mean, fuck, it just seems like it's all over the globe. But
Well, El Salvador says they'll take some of the criminals. But eventually El Salvador is not going to be able to hold all these people. How's
well,
El Salvador going to hold all these people and support them and feed them all?
well, I was just watching some shit about the Gaza Strip, which apparently Gaza has just been a wasteland for
Oh,
a long
Gaza's been
time.
destroyed. Oh, yeah. Trump says we're going to move troops in there and the United States is going to take over Gaza and all the people who live in Gaza are going to move out and we're
He
going to
said
put them
about
we're going to put them someplace wonderful.
relocate them and then rebuild it.
Have you seen the Middle East? There is no place wonderful in the Middle
Just
East.
build a wall around the Gaza Strip and turn it into a resort. That's what's going to have to be a golf course. There's
What's
going to
up?
be fountains.
What's up with Trump and Walls?
What's up with him in golf courses and resorts? Shit makes money. Yeah.
Yes, this is all this is all a real estate scam by Trump. He wants to
Yeah,
tear.
he's only got 4 years. He's got to think about 5 years ahead. Yeah, he's got to think about those golf courses on the Gaza Strip.
No, he wants to just tear it all down and rebuild houses and sell them all back to the Palestinians.
Yeah,
Yeah, you want to come back? You got to buy a house off of me.
rename it the Trump Strip. I can already see it.
Okay, the Palestinians already got thrown out of Palestine, which is Israel. What Israel occupies used to be called in 1947. It was called Palestine.
Right. Okay.
And then the Jewish, let's see, what can we call them? The Jewish terrorists there rose up and started a revolution and overthrew the Palestinian government and started the state of Israel. In 1948, they created the state of Israel after they overthrew the government of Palestine, and all the Jewish farmers took over the farms of the Palestinians and started the state of Israel. And so they basically stole Palestine from the Palestinians, threw the Palestinians off, chased them off, put them in refugee camps. They lived in these refugee camps for years when I was a kid.
This is pre-Hitler.
Oh no, this is the 1960s.
Okay. Okay.
This is the 50s and the 60s.
Okay.
They shoved all these Palestinians into refugee camps. So they all had to live in these shitty little refugee camps. So then they all ended up down in the Gaza Strip. And this is the last part of Palestine that they have left, the Gaza Strip.
I was looking at it today. It's not very big. I mean, like in comparison to the rest of the fucking continent.
No, it's just a little piece of land, the Gaza
Holy
Strip.
shit.
That's where the last of the Palestinians are living, those that haven't been killed off by the Israelis. And now the Israelis invade that, bomb and shell the shit out of it.
I've seen like Gaza City, like it's just decimated.
It's destroyed. They bomb and shell the shit out of it, so it's destroyed. They've murdered most of the Palestinians who lived in the Gaza Strip.
Just the land? I mean, like it's all just about the land?
Well, see, Hamas, the terrorists, tunneled underneath the Gaza Strip to hide out from the Israelis. So
I heard that there's a fucking underground tunnel from Egypt, right? That there's old tunnels from Egypt that go into there too. I was reading something about that today. That there's old tunnels, smuggling
yeah,
tunnels.
yeah, probably there is.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, there's a whole complex of tunnels underneath the Gaza Strip that supports Hamas. Especially, they like to put tunnels underneath schools, churches, and hospitals. Think, well, they won't come looking for us at the hospitals and the schools and the churches.
Ah, yeah,
All
right.
right. So anyway, they're underneath these locations because they think that protects them.
Oh, yeah, nobody's gonna bomb or attack a school or a church, right?
Well, the Israelis do. They're like, "Fuck you, fuck you." Watch
That's
this.
the only places they attack.
Watch this bomb we drop on the hospital. Boom.
They don't give
Okay.
a fuck.
So this last year or so, the Israelis have been bombing the shit out of the Gaza Strip to wipe out Hamas. So finally, Hamas said, "Enough! We can't fuck with Israel. No one can fuck with Israel. Israel's kicking our ass." So they've come to a peace accord, and Israel's going to pull out of the Gaza Strip. They're going to rebuild the Gaza Strip. It's going to take 5 or 6 years to rebuild the Gaza
I heard
Strip.
it could take 15.
15.
Like,
Oh,
I
all
mean,
right, then, yeah.
I mean, who knows?
Well, see, Trump thinks they can just rebuild it like that, no problem.
What do? You just bulldoze it. I mean, like, oh my
you're
god.
You're going to have to bulldoze it and
Because
rebuild
even the
it
stuff
from the
that's
ground
still
up.
standing isn't worth a shit. It's so fragmented.
Everything's bombed to shit.
Like,
So they're going to have to rebuild it from one end to the other from the ground up. All right? So bulldoze the whole damn thing and rebuild it.
right. So
all
where
right.
do all those people go while they're doing that for the next 15 years?
Oh, Trump thinks, someone will take all you people in.
I heard them suggest that Egypt should take them, but Egypt said no fucking way.
Egypt's like,
yep, they said no
we
fucking
don't want
way.
we don't want all
Saudi
the Palestinians.
Arabia, no way.
No. Here's the other thing: the Palestinians who live in the Gaza Strip are like,
They don't want to leave.
we're not going, because they know once they're shoved out of there,
Yeah, that's
the
it.
Israelis are going to be like, "Fuck you, you're not coming back."
Right.
They'll never be allowed back in. So
Yeah, and I would imagine most of those people would rather die there than fucking give up their last piece of property. You know,
fuck. If your house was all bombed to shit and they came along and said, "Well, you take off and you leave for a while, we'll rebuild your house and we'll let you know when your house is rebuilt and if you can come back," would you leave?
no fucking way. Especially like I said, I mean, like, what, best case, how long you think? Maybe 10, 15 years? Yeah, fuck off. I think I'll stay.
Yeah. So I'd be like, "Fuck you.
I'll
Bring
build
some carpenters in and I'll tell them how to rebuild it." But
start building a fucking mud hut.
I'm camping out. I'm camping out in my backyard while it's being rebuilt. Thank you very much.
Nope.
Who says no? Me and my shotgun says no.
Yep.
Fuck you. I ain't leaving.
Yeah, you can't blame them. You know, you really can't. If that's
'cause
everything you have is right there. It's the same thing with these fucking people in California.
That's the last piece of Palestine
But-
they have.
Yeah, these people in California got millions of dollars. Fuck them. You know, these people in Palestine have nothing, absolutely nothing, and have been fucked with for how long? I mean, really have just been fucking tormented
They've been
forever.
fucked since 1948.
You know, just
Everyone's like,
unbelievable.
"Oh, poor Israel, poor Israel." Fuck. You know, Israel's all. The Jews are always talking about, "Oh, look how bad those Nazis treated us." Israel treats the Palestinians just as bad as the Nazis treated the Jews.
That's why I was wondering what the timeline was, because if this is post-Hitler, like, oh my god, the comparisons are pretty stark. Like, you're doing the same thing.
They're doing
genocide.
They're doing the exact same thing. They fucking murder the fucking Palestinians just like the Nazis
And it's
murdered
for no
the Jews.
reason. I mean, you're what, gaining a couple fucking hundred, you know, I mean, like what, a couple 100 feet. You know, you're gaining, I mean, you're gaining territory.
It's not even to gain territory. It's not that they want to gain God. It's to keep Hamas from coming in and attacking the Jews in Israel.
So,
Because-
but it's preemptive. I mean, like,
Yeah, it's
They started it.
It's just to make sure the Hamas can't come and attack any more settlers in Israel.
because who's fucking with Russia?
Oh, I don't know how Russia fits in this whole thing.
Well, I don't know if it's
Ukraine is fucking with Russia.
right, Ukraine, right.
And Trump has said that he would settle that Ukraine-Russian conflict within a week.
He said first day, I think, at one point.
Yeah, on my first day, within a week of becoming president, and it's still going on because here's the other
Is
thing.
it? Well, what was the ceasefire? That wasn't the same deal.
No. That was the ceasefire is in Gaza.
Oh, okay.
There's no ceasefire. Here's what's going on with Ukraine. All right, the Russians have been getting their ass kicked so bad by the Ukrainians that they brought in soldiers from North Korea.
Right? I read this. It's fucking top.
And the North Korean soldiers, the Russians are having to pull the North Korean soldiers back because
Oh,
they're
they're
getting
getting
their
fucked
ass
up,
kicked so bad.
man.
They're getting their ass handed to them bad by the Ukrainians. The Ukrainians are like, hey, you come from North Korea? Boom, boom. Not anymore.
I cannot believe, like, because I mean, you would think Russia's like a superpower and all this shit. Like, Russia's calling him back up? What? Like,
Yeah.
they're calling in North Korea?
And you know, and here's the funny thing. For years, we were all scared of the USSR and stuff. All right. My best friend, when I was in high school, I had this friend, Jerry Behringer, who was all big about, man, he really wanted to be like a mercenary and go
Oh,
over and fight
yeah,
fight in
fight the Soviet
Africa
Union.
and fight against Soviet Union. And he's like, come on, Dave, we oughta, you know what, Dave? You and I ought to quit high school and join the army and go
Oh,
over
fuck.
and be in the army. And I'm like, fuck, man, are you kidding me? Why, are you crazy? Because here's the deal. My mom worked at the hospital for the University of Arizona. She worked at the University of Arizona hospital.
Oh, wow.
She worked down in records. So she worked for the University of Arizona. Because she worked for the University of Arizona, I got to go to college for $5 per credit hour per semester.
Wow.
I took 16 credits, so I got to go for $85 or 80
Holy
bucks
shit.
plus the cost of books.
Right. You
Right.
had to buy your own stuff,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So it's like, I'm like, Jerry, thanks.
Dude, that's a...
I think I'm
yeah,
going to
right.
stay
Let me
here.
not go to war.
I'm going to stay here and go to college, right? Plus, senior year, I started going out with this girl, Elizabeth, this gorgeous girl, had an ass like you wouldn't believe, man. Oh my god! And
You're not
when,
leaving
when I
that
met her,
behind.
she was a sweet little virgin, had never done anything at all.
No, no.
I taught her to suck dick like a pro.
No, my God, that's amazing.
And then
It's a rare commodity.
then when I
It's
started
like a
when I started
unicorn.
going to the University of Arizona, at the University of Arizona, all right, all the girls wear short shorts all the time because it's so fucking hot.
Even back then? I mean, I guess, yeah, right? No matter what, it's fucking
Oh,
hot
it
as
was
fuck.
like 1979. Yeah.
Okay,
Oh yeah.
I guess,
All right.
yeah, even Daisy Dukes, all that was...
But all these girls, they're not all from Tucson going there. They're all these girls from out of state
Right.
who have come to live in the dorms at University of Arizona. Well, they're free from mom and dad.
Oh, that's the
And
best
mom and dad's restrictions about dating and
time.
stuff.
Right.
So those girls put out like nobody's business.
It's the best time.
So
That's the wild days.
every week I was taking out a different co-ed and fucking the shit out of her.
Teaching them
Okay.
everything.
Every week it was some different beautiful co-ed. So
Oh,
man, I was getting college pussy like crazy. All right. Oh my god.
Those
College.
days, for real.
College is the best.
Well, and I never realized too. Whenever I went to college, I went to an art school, but I never realized. I'm like, oh my God, I wasn't prepared for it because at an art school, I mean, there's just psychedelics. Just that's the thing, for artists.
Yeah.
So I mean, oh my Lord, just stuff I never thought I'd get to experience. I mean, like I said, just going to college for me was about the art, but boy, I was like, yeah, I mean, every time something would come up, like, well, I am in college. I should probably experience everything. You know what I mean? Just take full advantage of everything,
Yeah.
and just, fully liberate myself and everyone around me, and just one of the best times, like I would encourage anybody to experience. It's a shame that seems to be kind of getting lost anymore. Like, especially like as soon as I seen people like with online schooling, I'm like, you're losing 90% of the whole reason to go to college. You know what I mean? You gotta get out.
You don't do college online.
You gotta get under the. You know what I mean? You gotta get under the social experiment. I mean, it's just like
the social experience of going to high school.
Well, and I hate that it's so different now because now with everybody having again a voice and their own opinion and social media and you got to worry like everybody's self-conscious at that age, so it's like it's the time where everybody's the most confused and trying to
Yeah, you
it's
gotta
like so
you gotta factor social media into it now because I'm
yeah.
thinking of high school as it was back when I was going to high school,
Well,
and it's changed.
And the way we were raised with our fathers, my father would be like, "What are you worried about? What somebody thinks what you look like or how you dress? Shut the fuck up, you fucking." You know what I mean? Like it just was a different time. Like we were taught to just man up. And just
My dad's
so it's like
attitude was someone picks on you, someone give you a hard time. Let me tell you what I did was this guy was picking on me. I went home and I got a 2x4 and I whittled one end down to where it was a handle, and I stood and I waited in this alley till he came walking by, and I jumped him with that 2x4 and I just bait the shit out of him.
Right, you settle it. You handle it. And
That's
that's
like,
why you raised even a daughter that stood up for herself. And
yeah,
whenever
yeah,
someone was
exactly.
talking
And I'm like,
shit, you straighten it out.
Dad, you can't exactly jump someone from an alley with a 2x4 anymore, okay?
Dad, that's assault.
Yeah. But hey, back in the 30s, they didn't give a shit.
And that's why like people are like, oh, it's so hard now. It's like people are so mean. It's like, listen, you don't know what it's like. I mean, people are mean now with maybe what they say, and maybe with a comment on Facebook. But I mean, like people used to like just show up at your house and want to beat your fucking ass.
Okay. People are mean. Try going up with a name like Poglianich. Okay. You want to talk about mean? No one could ever pronounce my name. Everyone thought I was Polish. I've heard every Polish joke in the world. All right. You dumb Polak,
That's
you.
how stupid kids are.
You damn dumb Polak. Let me tell you about. Hey, did you hear about the screen door on the Polish submarine? Okay. Yeah.
Oh my god. So it's like, and that's what I mean. So like all that bullying and all that harassment, it made you tougher, it made you stronger, it probably gave you
No,
a good
no,
sense of
no.
humor.
Let me tell you who it really made tougher, and this is why I am really proud of Joe. Joe doesn't realize it, but Joe did. Joe went and achieved everything I ever wanted to achieve in my life. I mean,
Really?
Joe. Oh, we lived in this. My dad one time, Vicky and I had this nice little 3-bedroom house. There was only just a few $100 a month in rent, like $450 a month in rent. Um, in this quiet little neighborhood and stuff. And he came to live with us, and there wasn't really a bedroom for him, so he had to sleep out in like a recliner in the living room, and he didn't like that too much. So he had this friend. My dad was in real estate, and he had this friend who was in real estate, and this guy offered to sell us a house. He sold us a 5-bedroom house for $69,000.
Holy hell. 5 bedrooms?
Oh, it was a nice house
Holy
for
shit, it must have been huge.
$69,000. Yeah, it was a good sized house. So my dad said, we got to jump on this deal. We got to buy this house.
And where was this at?
This is in the southern part of Tucson.
Okay, Arizona.
In fact, that was the problem. The house was on the south side of Tucson.
Oh no.
South side of Tucson, it was controlled by the Crips. The neighborhood was
Oh,
big time
no.
Crip owned. Big time. Our next door neighbors, let's see, we had one neighbor, the next door neighbors on one side were this black family who smoked so much weed that it would come out of their cooler on top and drift over and come down through our cooler, okay? And then we had the family on the other side were a bunch of, I think, illegals. They couldn't speak English. And then there was this black family. Oh no, these gangbangers living across the street from us. 2 or 3 streets over was the guy who ran the Crips. His house was painted blue.
Oh.
His car was blue. His fence was blue. Everything about his house was blue. Everything in that,
Holy fuck.
everything there was blue.
That's a flag.
This guy was.
I don't fuck with this fucking
This
house.
guy was hardcore Crip. All right. So Joe used to go to school. I'd walk him to school. But when he got out of school, he would walk home by himself and cut this. Behind our house was a park. All right, nice big 40-acre park.
Holy shit.
Yeah, big park. All right. And he'd be cutting through that park, and he would get jumped by these Mexican kids every day. He'd get jumped by like
what?
2 or 3 Mexicans, and they'd kick his ass.
How old was he again?
Joe was about 13 then.
Wow.
And they'd kick his ass on the way home from school. He was like in 6th grade, maybe he was 12. They'd kick his ass every day on the way home from school. Well, this taught Joe how to fight a couple, 2 or 3 guys
Again,
at the same
just
time.
toughen him up.
It toughened Joe up good. So Joe got to the point where 2 guys jumped Joe. Joe could take 2 guys down. No problem.
That's crazy, too, because you get used to fighting 2 guys. You know what I mean? Like,
one guy is like,
cinch.
oh, and that's why Joe has been studying
Like jiu-jitsu.
jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
So it's like, I know Joe can kick. Oh, when Joe joined the army, he was in basic training. So it came to the part of basic training where they teach you hand-to-hand combat.
Oh, yeah.
In his platoon of 200 guys, Joe finished number 1.
No shit. I
Yeah,
didn't know
Joe
that.
Joe finished number 1. He could kick everyone's ass in his
Wow.
platoon.
Well, and again, same thing. Like, because when you're dealing with more than one person, you got to be in two places at once.
And as far as the hand-to-hand combat goes, Joe could take on 2 guys at the same time in hand-to-hand combat.
So it's impressive, and from a young age, I
Yeah,
mean, like
yeah,
that just
yeah,
like
yeah.
ingrained to him.
Yeah, Joe can definitely kick the shit out of anyone he wants to.
Yeah, and that's
And you know how tall? Well, you met Joe?
oh, dude, I've known. I mean, I went to high
Oh,
school
what
with
am I
Joe.
saying? Have you met
So,
Joe?
like-
What the hell? Fuck yeah,
So
you
like
met
me
Joe.
and Joe never got along. Me and Joe hated each other the whole way through high school.
Oh,
We
really?
Hated each other, dude. Like, I mean, just
Well,
and what's so
what
funny?
are you doing fucking his sister?
Well, and I wanted nothing to do with her also because I'm like, well, I can foresee that. You get involved with her, you got to deal with him. We don't get along. I'm not even going to play that. But we all had the same friends. So it was like, Joe's there, fuck that. So I mean, like, any time that Joe was out, usually she was probably with him or vice versa. So, like, we just never, it just never happened. So, like, it's so weird that, like, it ended up being probably because we were so alike, that, like, we were essentially the same agenda, same guy, same crew, same. You know what I mean? So it's like an alpha thing. You know what I mean? So we clashed. So I mean, like, just our whole way through high school was rivaling, whether it was the same chick or whether it was the same crew. Like,
let me tell you something.
it's
Joe
so
could have
funny.
kicked your ass and your best friends
Oh,
too.
because I would have been so stoned out of my mind, I wouldn't have been able to get up. Because that's the thing. Like, I am my whole time growing up, I was in my sketchbook. I didn't give a fuck about nothing. I didn't give a shit about chicks. I didn't give a fuck about drinking. Everybody wanted to fucking party. All I need is a piece of paper. That's all I did. My whole entire life, from the time I was 5 until, I mean, my whole time. I mean, that's all I did.
That's why you're good, because you were so
It's-
dedicated to
It's
that.
just I knew that nothing else that I was gonna do or spend my time on was gonna get me any closer to where I wanted to be, and that was doing tattoos in California someday. So, like, it's like I never wasted any of that time. Now, I mean, I did a little here and there. Like I said, I smoked weed and I did all these things, but I never ever let it consume any bit of my time because everything had to go back to drawing. So I spent all my time on my art. I literally committed every bit of my time and free time to just drawing and getting better. So I never really fell into that too much, but, like, for the most part, like, I mean, we just never, we would even end up at the same places sometime. We're like, yeah, fuck yeah, but now we talk, it's like, man, if we would have just got our heads out of our ass, we'd have been ended up best friends, like, who knows, but at the same time, me, I probably would have fucked things up with her in high school, and that would have never happened and we wouldn't be here, so it's like the timelines just weren't right, things had to wait out. He had to grow up a little bit, I had to grow up a little bit, so it's like everything kind of came into place, and it's like so weird, like that, like we're sitting here talking about this because, like I said, it's like, Joe Pilates, fuck that motherfucker, anybody that likes David, fuck him, and his sister, like, always loved her, always liked her, always wanted to be around her, but, like, was so stupid because of that, never even bothered with it. So it's like a whole lifetime later, we're here.
So how did you come to meet her then?
Well, my grandparents said I had come back from California because my grandparents were not doing well. My grandma, was about on her last leg. She had COPD real bad, and, like, it wasn't getting any better. There's no recovering after 50 years of smoking. I mean, there's just, some things you can't fix. So, like, they were trying to handle the estate because my grandpa, for the last couple of years, had been showing early signs of Alzheimer's, and I had worked in the healthcare field for a while and done that. So, like, I actually worked with dementia patients and Alzheimer patients pretty significantly for a while. So, like, whenever it started, they were telling me what was going on. I said, listen, like, there's no turning that back. Like, I mean, it's only going to get worse, like, so I ended up coming back to Pennsylvania. I was with family, and foreseeing, my grandma passing away, and, my grandpa went into a home. Their house ended up fucking burning down, like, shortly after my grandpa went into home. They lost everything, all of our memories that my grandma had saved. Every fucking thing in that house just burnt. Like, if you go down the street where my grandma's house was right now, it looks like it was never even there. It's like a fucking, it's such a trip because, like I said, like, you look at it, you can't even tell there was ever even a house there. It's so weird. Like, and my whole childhood was in that place. So it's just real strange how everything happened. So I literally was on my fucking way out of Pennsylvania because I was like, listen, I'm done. Like, I came back for this, and I'm washing my hands clean of it. I'm leaving. I was on my way out of Pennsylvania. It was maybe 2 days or so before my birthday. fucking Facebook. Oh, Laura Polonius. Oh, yeah, I remember her. High school, yeah. Friend request. Hey, you want to hang out? Yeah, I mean, she just happened to be living in, I was in the direction that I was on my way out of, so like we ended up meeting up, having pizza, and I never left. That was it. You know what I mean? Like that literally was it. I've been here for fucking 4 years, and now we have a baby, and now we're sitting here. It's like so weird. Like if I wouldn't have checked my phone or I wouldn't have got that message, if I'd have just been a little bit further down the road, we wouldn't be here. No tattoo shop, because I had closed down my tattoo shop years before that. I was just done. I was traveling. I was out with my cat, living in the van. I was done with tattooing. I
So
was ready.
you owe it all to Facebook.
It's weird, dude. It's like I said. I mean, even just because I contemplated not even coming back, because it's like, do I really want to come back and do all that? But at the same time, it's like there was all this stuff to go through, and like I didn't want my mom to go through it alone. So like, yeah, it's just weird how it all happened. Like I said, I mean, like to be sitting here now to know that like just a few things would have changed so much. Yeah, it's crazy. But wouldn't change it for nothing. It's,
Testing. Okay.
yeah, you're still good. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool. Like I said, I mean, you just never really plan it. And now, like, I mean, I know that Joe's down there, but at some point, like, yeah, I mean, I guess he came back for the thing, whatever it was, baby shower or something like that. And it was a trip to be in the same space with him. Like he spent the night at our house and shit. So it was pretty fucking weird. But again, just like it seems like a different lifetime ago. Yeah, but like I said, now it's cool too, because now to talk to you, I get to see and know a whole different side of them that it's like, oh, okay, everything kind of makes a little bit of sense. You know what I mean? Like now I know, like, he was running around doing the same shit that I was doing. It's like, fuck, if I'd have just, again, it got my head out of my ass, we would have probably been really good friends. We would have been hanging out. He was doing the exact same shit that I was doing. It's like,
Yeah. Just
and
he wasn't quite in California.
well, I mean, like it's like I said, I mean, like it's weird that like because you guys were back and forth too. She wasn't always here. I mean, she was back and forth, right? Like so, I mean, like it's
Yeah.
just weird. We just ended up in the same place at the right time. Both times. So it's kind of weird. That was a good one. I was gonna ask you about time travel. You could go back in time, any time, could be in your lifetime, but any year. Where would you go?
Oh. Um. I think I'd go back to 1864 and kill John Wilkes Booth.
Oh man, what do you think would be different?
Well,
Because that's
Lincoln
who killed Lincoln, obviously, right?
Lincoln would survive and have his second presidency because Johnson was a terrible president.
Is that who took over for Lincoln whenever he was
Yeah,
shot?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Vice President Johnson took over.
Was Lincoln in his first term?
No, he was in his second term.
Oh, really? Okay.
He had just been elected to his second term
Oh, really?
when
So he
when
was just starting his
when
second term.
when John Wilkes Booth offed him.
Wow.
So Johnson took over, and he was a shitty president.
Do you think that was an inside job?
No,
No. I mean, like, because I don't really obviously know too much of the surrounding
no,
history.
no.
Like,
John Wilkes Booth had been planning to off Lincoln for a while.
really?
What he did is he was going to off Lincoln. Someone was supposed to kill Johnson, and someone else was supposed to kill the Secretary of State.
Like all at the
Yeah,
same time?
yeah. He was trying to topple the entire. Uh, See, if the president is killed, the vice president takes over, and if he's killed, the Secretary of State takes over. So he
Oh.
was trying to he was trying to kill off everyone who could take over the
Right.
who could run the Union
So what
government.
happens then? What happens if they're all three wiped out?
Then the Congress, the Speaker of the House takes over.
Oh, jeez.
And so I guess he wanted the Speaker of the House to I guess the Speaker of the House looked favorably on the South or something. I don't know what the deal is with that.
Yeah, it's wild.
But then the Speaker of the House takes over. So he was going to. I think there was something about the Speaker of the House was supposed to be assassinated too. I'm not sure. So anyway, the people he counted on to kill the Vice President and the Secretary of State, they they didn't do it.
They backed out.
They backed out. it didn't happen, and so only Lincoln got killed.
Damn.
And Johnson, let's see, the guy that's supposed to kill Johnson, I think he didn't show up. He didn't bother. And the guy that was supposed to kill the Secretary of State, I think he wounded the Secretary of State or something like that. But he didn't do it. So that guy got arrested and sent to prison. And
did he roll on? So like how was?
Everyone got rolled on.
Oh, jeez.
Everyone got hung.
So they hung him up pretty quick, like
within 2 weeks. John Wilkes Booth, he evaded everyone for 2 weeks, and he got caught in a barn down south in like Maryland or something. And they set the barn on fire, and he was trying to crawl out of the. He was trying to get out of the barn when he got shot in the neck, and so he got paralyzed.
Oh.
And so he was trying to get out of the barn, but the barn burned down on him, so he died in a burning barn.
I didn't know that. Holy shit!
Well,
They killed him.
Believe me, he killed Lincoln. Nobody has sympathy for John Wilkes Booth.
I guess he killed a fucking president.
He killed Lincoln. No one has sympathy for John Wilkes Booth. In fact, dying in a burning barn was a good thing for him.
Kind of seemed kind of righteous, actually.
That's the best thing he could hope for.
I'm
because
assuming
believe
Lincoln...
me, if he had gotten out of that burning barn alive and well, he was going to get his ass kicked real good. The least he could hope for is to get shot and die in a burning barn.
Man, what a way to go!
Yeah, but he got shot and died in a burning barn.
So no trial, no nothing.
No trial, no nothing. Oh fuck, he don't need no trial. He's dead. And then the rest of the people got hung. And in fact,
they literally hung them.
They hung them.
Holy shit!
They had a mass hanging.
They were still hanging people then.
I
guess this
even
is Lincoln.
Mary Surratt, who was the lady who owned the boarding house that they all stayed at, they hung her ass too.
Just for housing them.
Just for housing them.
Oh,
you housed them. You're hanging, bitch.
Did she know though?
That's all been a matter of debate since then. They think she knew it. She was in on it, so she let them stay.
There probably wasn't TV and news. I mean, there might have been newspapers, wanted posters, maybe, but
they said, "Hey, you let them stay.
Holy,
you're hanging, bitch."
She's
like, "It wasn't my fault. I didn't know what they were up to." Well, too bad, bitch. You're hanging. And so they hung her.
Holy shit!
They were pissed. They hung everyone. It didn't matter.
I mean, what are you gonna do? The people want justice. They said, "I'm sure." Lincoln.
You're going to take the short drop and the quick stop. That's what you're going to take.
Right. Lincoln was obviously favorable. He had a high approval rating. Yeah.
Actually, Lincoln was kind of a despot. He was telling newspapers what they could and couldn't print. If he didn't like what they were printing, he wouldn't let them print. Yeah.
So he was kind of against free speech.
He didn't like what the New York Times was printing, so he told the New York Times to quit printing what they were printing.
I mean, I guess if you think you're the president, you can do whatever you want.
Back then, the newspaper was like the only media there was.
Right, yeah.
Oh, and Ted.
You've lived through some crazy shit because you've seen all this stuff happening like in real time.
That's what's different. I saw it happen.
I can watch a thing where I can absorb everything that happened. But this happened for you over a span of months or years.
Yeah, you're watching this as history.
Right.
I watched CNN today. Reagan got shot. I'm like, damn.
Right. Well, even like Dahmer and all this.
Here's another one for you. Theodore Roosevelt got shot. But it went into a Bible he had. It went through a Bible he had, and it wounded him. He then went inside, gave a speech he was supposed to give, and then after he did the speech, he's like, "Okay, I gotta go to the hospital now." But yeah, he got shot.
If that wouldn't make you religious, nothing would.
No, Theodore Roosevelt
being saved.
Theodore Roosevelt was a tough ass motherfucker. All the streets are named for assassinated presidents. Really? Cleveland, McKinley, Lincoln.
I never noticed that.
Yeah, those are all assassinated presidents. Lincoln, Cleveland, McKinley.
Wow. That never dawned on me, actually. That's kind of wild. But yeah, I mean, to think about, like I said, because I can watch, a whole news story in 10 minutes, like you don't realize that this stuff, was news breaking over months and months and months. Like, like even just like, these serial killers and stuff. I mean, like,
Oh no,
to
we're
see this
we're
stuff on
living
the
in
news.
historic times now. Trump getting reelected a second time after, all right, uh, Biden serves his terms, and then Trump comes back for a second term.
Yeah, that's
A
unusual
president,
too, huh? Like
yeah,
a split term
a
like
split
that.
term like that. Yeah, that's very unusual.
Well, and Biden stepping down too, is that pretty unusual too? Like, I mean, people don't
Yeah, yeah,
usually do
yeah, yeah,
that.
yeah. He could have had another term, but he said, "Oh, due to my age, I'm stepping down." No, due to the fact that the guy was like getting senile.
Well, I mean, they tried to deny it for a long, long time, and I'm
But
sure that, like, I mean, if you were Joe Biden, I mean, why would you want to give up that seat? I mean,
yeah,
you're going to try
seriously,
to do it till you
who wants
can't,
to give up the most powerful office in the world?
and
And we don't even know all the perks the president actually has.
well, I
Yeah,
was hoping to find out.
I
Like
mean,
Trump did that interview with
other
Rogan.
other than living in the White House and you got the helicopter to fly you everywhere
But
and Secret
imagine walking
Service
in and they
all the
just,
time.
you have access to all the nation's secrets. I mean, can you imagine just unloading, like, you just have access to anything? I mean, UFO, I mean, you fucking name it. It would just be so unreal to be able to say,
You got the finest medical
bring me
care
that.
in the country. You got the great chefs.
Dude, have you ever looked and see what the beast that they haul the president around in? I mean, like,
Oh, the Cadillac.
that thing has got like blood on staff, like, I mean, in case he would need like a, transfusion
The
or
Are you talking about the armor plated Cadillac?
yeah, the SUV that he rides in the motorcade
Yeah,
or
yeah, yeah,
whatever.
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, they got like the
Yeah,
president's blood
that's
title.
why there's four SUVs traveling at all times
Like,
in the motorcade.
I watched this, and there's a car that like jams outside signals so nobody could like remote detonate a bomb or anything. So there's a vehicle that's like jamming
Well,
a
plus,
parameter.
and plus one of them Secret Service vehicle that has the machine guns and everything. Because it's like
Right, I'm
the
sure they're all
Secret Service
strapped.
is ready to whip out Uzis at the drop of a hat
Well,
and start machine gunning
it's
you.
funny you mention that because I seen something yesterday that showed me that if you ever notice that there's sometimes that they're standing like with a dead arm, what they call like a ready stance,
Yeah.
that sometimes that's actually a fake arm or a fake hand in the sleeve so that they can have their arm on their weapon at all times. So this is just like it's like a prosthetic, that they're holding that there. That way that they can stand ready with their fucking hand on their weapon at any moment. I mean,
So
like,
they can just boom kill
it's
you.
like, oh my god, like
Because they practice shooting.
in a
But
split second, because you
yeah.
only have a fragment of time. I mean, like,
Oh well, yeah. Because I
unless
saw
it's in Butler, Pennsylvania, for
oh
some reason, then you got 5 minutes of shooting.
who's
Then,
that senator from Bernie Sanders?
oh
When
yeah,
Bernie Sanders was running for president, I went down to see him. He was doing
oh
the
yeah,
shake of the hand. Yeah, yeah. I shook Bernie Sanders' hand.
no shit,
Yeah,
I didn't
but the
know that.
Secret Service was there, and I was standing there at the rail, and I had on my leather jacket. So they came up to check me out because they want to see what was in my leather jacket. So I opened up my coat and say, "Look, I got nothing. I'm good. I got nothing." But when they come and they approach you, they are deadly serious. They're like, "What's in your jacket?" Nothing. Nothing in my jacket.
Scary,
I mean,
dude.
they are not even the slightest bit less than deadly
Like not
fucking
messing
serious.
around, right?
What's in your jacket?
Well,
Nothing, sir.
we were talking about going to that rally, and I mean, like to look at the list of things that you can't take in. I mean, like you can't take anything in.
No, you
Like
you
it's
can show
fucking
up in your
crazy.
clothes and show them there's nothing in your clothes, but I mean,
Well,
it,
that's
it's like when you're getting on an airplane. Whenever I'm going to fly, I empty everything out of my
yeah,
pockets,
same here.
and
Even if we got to go like into a courthouse or something, like sometimes I go into City Hall for like events,
mhm.
permits and stuff like that. I do the same. I'm not taking anything with me at all. Like I'm not even fucking bothering with it. I hate that scanner and all that shit patting you
Yeah,
down.
yeah.
Like,
So just empty everything out of your pockets, and it's like because it's like you can't even carry a bottle of water on.
well, sometimes you still beep. I'm like, what the fuck did I forget? Like, oh, is it your button? Is it? I don't know. And then
I
they
got
gotta
an implant
wind
in my
you.
head. Okay, all metal.
Right. Yeah. Well, my pap had a knee replacement, but it was titanium. It wouldn't set it off, but they could see it like if they would fucking run the scanner like because it's metal, but it was titanium. So I mean I don't know they'd fucking have to want it, but he had like a little card that he would have to show like at the airport that showed he had like a fucking titanium kneecap and stuff. Like, yeah, it's, it's crazy. You could have a metal plate in your head, but you'd have to have a card.
It says you have a metal plate in
Yeah,
your
they'd
head.
probably give you a fucking card. He's got a chip
He's
in his
got a
head.
metal plate in his head and severe brain damage. Give him a break. Yeah, see? Brain damage.
Um,
Not even from all the liquor I drink
um,
either.
I'm telling you, we really are living in fucking historic times, though. But actually mentioning all the stuff that you can't take into a fucking rally or even like meeting the president. So how did that go? Like that was where at that you met Bernie Sanders?
Yeah, oh, it was cool, man. Came up, shook Bernie Sanders' hand. Oh, and I also met who's the senator of Massachusetts? That tall lady, glasses, Elizabeth Warren.
No shit.
I don't have a picture. I took my picture with Elizabeth Warren.
No shit.
Yeah, I met
That's
Elizabeth
awesome.
Warren too.
I mean, I'm not a fan of her so much. Bernie Sanders is a little crazy, but I mean, like, just it's historic. Like these are
No. Here's the thing that bugs
people
me
of the
about Bernie
times.
Sanders. Bernie Sanders is always rallying against this and that and everything. He's got
Well,
an
he's
opinion
been
on
a
everything.
fucking for a long time, like
He's got an
social
opinion about
justice
everything,
warrior.
but it's like, yeah, Bernie, why don't you ever put any bills forth on the floor and do
Yeah,
something about
he's in
all
a
this shit?
position to make a bunch of changes. He's
It's like
congressman or
Bernie,
senate, right?
you've been a senator for 25 years.
Senator.
Why don't you do something?
Right,
Why don't you put a bill? Why don't you come up with a bill about this, a bill about this, a bill about that? Put out some bills for the Senate to vote on
right.
and do something. Make a change in America. Instead of talking shit, do some shit, okay? I'd vote for you for president if you actually ever did some shit, Bernie, instead of talking shit.
Well,
You know,
that's the problem. Is that they talk as if they're still campaigning. It's like you're in a position right now to do something. It was the same thing whenever, like, anytime I would see Kamala on TV. I mean, like, even because me, like, we disagree about stuff politically, but like, I will listen to anybody, and I will listen with open ears, and I'll try to understand someone's side. But
yeah,
like with
yeah, but
her,
she talked a lot of shit. But when I'm elected president, I'm going to
it's like
bring
you're in
down
there right
grocery
now,
prices. How are you going to bring down grocery prices?
and
That's
there's
like
never an
waving a
answer.
wand and saying lower prices, lower. You're not going to bring down the prices. I see those prices in Walmart all the time. I see people pushing their carts around and they're making a decision. Do I buy this or do I buy this or do I buy this or do I buy this? Because they can't afford all the shit
Right.
they want
Well,
because it's
and
all expensive as hell.
it's actually interesting because you're in a position where you probably see the price fluctuate. Yeah, I mean, like you will see the prices go up or down.
Yeah.
So I mean, like you can tell, essentially how quickly these decisions that you're watching being fucking made in Washington are actually affecting people in the real world. Because like they talk a big game, but it's like, do you know anybody that actually lives in like middle America and like is
See,
struggling?
they talk a game, but they don't live in the real world.
If your whole career, like if you think about like the Bidens or the Clintons, I mean, your whole life is just in that world,
They,
where
they,
everything is
they live
just
in a
done.
bubble where they don't ever, they
Well,
have
you're so
accountants.
detached. You
You know,
really have no idea, and every member of your family is in that inner circle. You know what I mean? You're a fucking. I mean,
it's like the song by Joe Walsh. I live in hotels that tear out the walls. I have accountants pay for it all.
I love that song.
Yeah, but that's the truth. Joe Walsh goes to hotels, tears out the walls. He has accountants pay for it all.
Yeah,
He earns millions from his records. Accountants get all the cash, give him a monthly income to live on, and they pay all his bills for him.
yeah.
He doesn't see anything.
Yeah, you just keep moving and moving. I was watching something the other day. This guy was like, I haven't seen a dollar bill in so long that I might not even recognize it. Because everything is just, I mean, to them, they don't have to physically pay for anything. It's just all come and go. It's just, it's just a constant flow of this is paid for already. This is taken care of. My manager or my agent does this and this and this.
Well, I'm like that.
It's like waving a wand.
All my money I earn or all the money I get is directly deposited into my
You
checking
don't even
account.
see it
I
anymore.
never see it. I use plastic for
Yep.
everything, so it's like I haven't seen cash in a long time.
Well, it's like sometimes I don't even like for days I don't even know where my wallet is because now I don't even need to because I can walk into a store and just pay with my phone. I can just touch my phone at the fucking checkout and pay. It's like
See, I
I don't
gotta
even
get
need
to
a
that point.
wallet.
I gotta start paying with my phone.
It's weird. The only thing that sucks it doesn't work at Walmart because Walmart is in competition with like Apple Pay or Google Pay because Walmart has Walmart Pay. So they're exclusive to Walmart Pay, which you probably have. I don't know if you get,
No, I don't. I didn't know there's a
Walmart.
I didn't know there's a Walmart Pay.
Well, like Walmart Plus or whatever the fuck that they have.
Oh yeah,
That's essentially their Walmart Pay.
but I have Walmart Plus.
Right.
See, I've got Walmart Plus, but I don't take advantage of it.
Right, that's it. You probably do have it and could use it. And like now, if you go to the checkout, you'll notice, what a QR code is, how they have that little square
Yeah.
barcode thing.
Uh-huh.
Well, now they have that at every checkout. So actually, I can scan that with my phone, and I can pay with whatever card is saved into my phone. So essentially, I can pay with my phone through anything. Like, because I have,
Shit. See,
which you probably have the same thing. Like Android probably has a Google Wallet or something where you can have a couple cards saved on there, and then you just literally scan that at the register, and you're in and out. Like it's pretty fucking convenient. Like it's unreal. Like I would have never thought. Especially like um with the tattoo thing. It's like it's so easy. Like I literally can like have them set their phone on my phone or their debit card on my phone, and I can accept a payment. Like if you were buying a hat or something at the shop, you would just take your debit card and sit it on my phone, and it pays me through the fucking air from your card to my phone. Like it's unbelievable. It really is. I mean, like I said, it's hard to imagine what things will be like. I mean, even 5 years, 10 years from now. Did you hear that they reopened 3 Mile Island? That's during your childhood? Was 3 Mile Island disaster during
yeah,
your
yeah, yeah. The
your
Three Mile
lifetime?
Island disaster was during. Yeah, I remember the Three Mile
So
Island disaster. I thought it was going to be shut down forever.
so they're reopening it. So I think it's Jeff Bezos is who it is, the guy who owns Amazon,
Yeah.
is reopening it to turn it into a nuclear power plant to power artificial intelligence, to power AI. Because that's how crazy AI has gotten now that they, as far as like a computer has a battery that powers the computer, they need a battery that's a nuclear power plant to power this supercomputer. We're into like sci-fi now at this
Oh
point. Like
shit.
yeah, they're saying within like 5 years that they'll have what they call artificial general intelligence, which means it's essentially a human. It's a human mind, with superior computer power.
See, this whole thing is they're talking about. Well, in 5 years it'll be like this. It scares me what they're going to be doing with artificial intelligence in the next 5 to 10 years.
10 years scares me. Like 5 years, it might just be a subtle change, but 10 years, I think it'll be beyond our
I think in ten
comprehension.
years I want to be living in a ranch in Alaska, way
Yeah,
off the grid.
yeah. No internet, no
No,
phone
nothing,
lines, nothing.
nothing. Just living somewhere.
Well, and it's weird how like
Get 400 acres way off somewhere in Alaska where
I'm
I
telling
don't
you,
see
I
anyone.
could bear the cold. I could do it. Like
Just grow crops in growing season
I
and
admire those people,
and
dude.
then can it all and put it down in your basement
Right? Especially if we
to
think
eat through
about
the
like
winter.
having like a compound, which we're like, we have somebody that handles like the vegetation or the growing, and somebody to handle, Like I don't know what fucking my
With a
task would
compound,
be.
and then
Maybe
you get
communications.
and you get like tunnels underground.
Oh, now and you can buy like prefab, like it's like an igloo basically, but it's like a hard shell, and then you can cover it with whatever you want.
So no, so you dig a pit,
Yeah, we'll just make
50
one,
feet
right?
down, and you put a structure down 50 feet, and you cover it up with with dirt
Yeah,
and
we want to be
concrete.
underground, right,
You
right.
cover it with dirt and
And that's
concrete,
good
and
insulation too. I
yeah,
found that out.
uh-huh.
People like in Arizona and stuff like that do that just because of the heat too. It actually keeps your place cool as well.
Oh
Like
yeah,
getting
yeah.
into the ground like that. Like I've seen some people like
See, I've
dig
often
down
thought
in.
of you build a house, but you have a large house, but you just have it looks like a one-story house because most of the house is underground,
Yeah, right. 2 stories down, but only one above ground.
2 or 3 or 4 stories down,
Man, I'm telling you, and
and
like,
just one above. So it looks like just a normal house, so one-story house, but you take the elevator down 3 or 4 floors.
man, and like, we talked about this a little bit, like a bunker. Like I would think like essentially like dig a giant hole and put a shipping container in it, because like with a shipping container, I've seen them insulate them with Like they have like spray foam. I mean, a number of things that you can. It's just a hard shell.
Oh, that's what you insulate them with, the spray foam.
Yeah, they have that, and you literally it's just a spray on. Like it's
And you cut the side out of two of them, and you can join them together
right.
to make
It's
one
just
large.
like Legos at that point, right? I've seen
Uh-huh.
people stack them, and
Oh yeah,
you
you can make some bitchin' houses with those.
Oh, dude, and you just
And
cut out windows wherever you want them.
and you can get them for next to nothing.
They're pretty. I mean, in comparison to a house, yeah, you can get a
Yeah.
shipping container for a couple grand, like $2,000. And then you think about solar panels and sustainability like that.
What you do is you take your place, and if you live in someplace like Nevada or Arizona where the sun shines like 300 days a year,
Yeah, right.
okay, and even when it's overcast, solar panels still work.
You're still getting 60% on an overcast day. I had them solar panels on the van.
Yeah, all right. So you set your place up with solar panels, and you get an EV, all right, and you can charge your EV off the electricity you're getting from the solar panels. So an EV has like a 300-mile range when it's fully
Holy
charged.
shit.
All right.
300 miles.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Boy, we're done paying for electricity.
So you get a couple of EVs so that when one's down, you can drive the other.
Right.
All right. And you plug them in to be charged from the house.
Man, it'd be like a little rover.
That is running off of the solar panels that you have out. You have a yard full of solar panels. If you have enough, you can sell electricity back to the power company.
I heard about this.
All right, so the power company is giving you a check every month
because it's not wasted. You know what I mean, you're just bouncing it back to them.
So you're not paying for electricity. The electric company's paying you.
Could you imagine getting a check from the electric company every month?
Yeah.
Oh, you're paying your bills. Getting.
So I know plenty of places. Well, not plenty of places, but I know of places in Nevada that most of Nevada is like government property.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, that's
just
why
the desert, or what? Like,
no, it's for the military. That's where they test these jets that the government keeps coming up with. Area 51. You know what Area 51 actually is? It's where the government tests.
Facility, right?
It's a test facility for their top secret jets.
Right. Okay.
And that's why they see UFOs there, because what does the B-2 bomber look like?
Fucking something from a different planet.
Yeah.
Nothing that looks like it can fly.
What does the F-117 look like?
Right, and the thing is too is people assume that they know everything that's out. You know what I mean? Like they're testing stuff that's 10, 20 years before we'll know about it, as far as like technology and advancements.
In fact, I'm convinced we don't even know what the military really has.
Oh, no idea. And there's probably people in the military that don't even know, because it's got to be so deep as far as classification, and only certain people can know, because, I mean, just word of mouth.
Are you kidding? Joe had a great job with the military. Joe goes and joins the military, and I think, all right, great. I've lost Joe.
He's think he's going to be in the trenches and shit.
I thought Joe was going to be boots on the ground in Afghanistan.
Especially with his mentality. He's hard-headed. He would be a good jarhead.
Yeah,
he would be a fucking good Marine.
And he's in good shape, so I thought they're going to give Joe a rifle and boots, and he's going to be boots on the ground in Afghanistan or Iraq. I'm going to lose Joe, or Joe's going to lose a leg or something. He's going to get shot or something. That's the end of it. I'm going to lose Joe. Instead, Joe got a good job working.
Using his fucking brain.
Using his brain, because Joe is fucking smart as shit. So Joe spends the entire time he's in the military over in fucking Guam.
Wow.
Working top secret shit. He was working, what was it?
That would be tough, though.
It was THAAD. It was THHADD.
Terminal High Altitude Area Defense.
Yeah.
THAAD.
Yeah, Terminal High Altitude Air Defense. Yeah.
U.S. missile defense system that intercepts ballistic missiles. So essentially like an Iron Dome concept.
Yeah, it was the Iron Dome. It's the Iron Dome that the United States has over our country to prevent.
See, I didn't know we had anything like that.
Yeah.
Just coastal.
It's defense over the whole country to prevent intercontinental ballistic missiles from coming in and destroying America.
Because Guam's not a part of the United States, right?
Yeah, it is. Guam's a territory that we own.
Okay.
Since we took it over, since World War II, we captured Guam. We're like, we're gonna keep Guam, bitch.
America, fuck yeah!
The Marines fought for Guam. Make us give it back.
Right.
Fuck you. Anyone want to come here and kick our ass and take Guam back from us? Yeah, I
right.
didn't think so.
You keep it.
I don't think there's anyone who wants to start a war with us to take Guam back. No, I don't think so. The Marines have Guam. Tell the Marines they have to give Guam back. Yeah, I didn't
Holy
think so.
fuck.
So we have Guam, and there's stations in Guam and up in Alaska and in Hawaii, and
And that covers the whole continental United States.
that
I'd
covers
imagine.
for the western
Like
part.
the
Yeah.
trifecta.
So they keep watch against any incoming intercontinental ballistic missiles. And Joe can't talk about it.
Yeah,
Everything he
that would
learned is
suck to not be able to talk about
everything
anything
he
you're
learned
doing.
is top secret. And so I never asked Joe a single thing about Thad. All I know is it's Thad.
Right,
all
you know what it is, public information, right?
Yeah, that part I know.
Yeah, that would be tough. But being in Guam, I mean, I don't really know much about Guam, and it's probably beautiful.
It's a beautiful tropical paradise there. I guess I don't know, but
It's hard to be far away, though. I mean, that's pretty fucking far away from everybody. I mean, that's a whole different world.
yeah, but instead of being boots on the ground,
Yeah, good for him though, man. Like, cause like I said, I mean, you can be bullheaded and go a completely different way, but I mean, like to use your brain and to get yourself into at least something
yeah.
that's
But Joe
legit.
probably had an asshole for a sergeant who over him or something like that. So he's like,
Right,
well, fuck this. I'm not gonna put up with these dicks.
right.
Fuck this
Well,
shit.
when you're smart enough too, I mean, like at the same time though, like obviously he chose not to do it, so he was probably bored a little bit too. I mean, like you use your intellect to get a
Well,
spot.
also when you realize you're smarter than the sergeant who's over you.
Yeah, that'd be tough. Tough to take orders from someone that you can fucking outsmart.
Yeah. You gotta take orders from some guys you know is a total dumb shit.
Right.
See,
Yeah.
this is why I could never be in the military because some dickhead would be giving me orders. I'd be like, man.
Yeah, that wouldn't go over too well.
See, I couldn't join because, all right, I took my ASVABs in high school and I got really, really good scores on it. So every branch of the military would call me every day,
Like
asking me to,
recruiters and shit. I forgot
recruiters would
about
call me
those
every
days.
day, asking me to come down and join the Army, the Navy, the Marines, the Air Force.
Man.
Everyone was calling me all the time. And, and I like to party till like 3 in the morning. And I had a queen size waterbed in my room, so I'd come
Oh
home and I'd
man.
crash on a queen size waterbed, and I'd be waking up at 10 o'clock in the morning with some guy calling me, and I'm like, no,
Life's too good,
I,
man.
I gotta roll a joint right now. Thank you. I'll talk to you later. So I was just all about drinking and smoking and getting high, and and I worked at the grocery store, and I don't know. One time I went out, got drunk with the guys at the grocery store, and trying to get home, I got busted for my first DUI.
Oh no.
Yeah, so since I had a DUI, I could not join the military.
Oh, well you didn't want to anyway.
Well, no, I changed my mind after.
Oh no.
I changed my mind at some point, and I'm like, yeah, I'd like to join the military. And they're like, oh, but you have a DUI. You can't. We can't take you now to I go. Just a month ago, you guys wanted me really bad. You were
Right.
you were like calling me all the time, asking me to join. Yeah, well, now you have a DUI, so afraid you can't join.
Oh man, now you're
But I
fucking.
have great ASVAB scores. Yeah, well, too bad. You got a DUI,
Nope.
so you can't join. Sorry.
Man.
And now they'll let
See,
any
children.
asshole in. They'll let a convicted fellow to join now.
I mean, I didn't know that. I was just gonna say, like, see, I mean, like, this is the whole reason to like
Hell,
to
they
think
let a
about it a
convicted
little
felon
bit.
be president. Why would they let a convicted felon join the army?
It is weird. It is weird because I mean, we both know that like there's a number of jobs that are much less responsibility than being president. That I couldn't get a job if I was a felon. There's a lot of things like I mean, like I probably couldn't fucking work the cash register at Walmart if I was a convicted
Well,
felon.
you can't work at Walmart
So
at all if you're a convicted felon.
So where's the jump? You know what I mean? Like, how do I? Okay, I can't work at Walmart, but I can be president. You know what I mean? Like, so it's like it is a weird jump. Like so either they need to change the law to where like it's not so scrutiny, so crazy for felons to.
They need to change the law that a convicted felon cannot run for president.
Maybe he'll do that on his way out.
No, Trump will never sign that. Congress needs to pass that amendment.
Well, what would happen if they did that? Could
While
he?
Trump was still president?
Yeah.
Oh, it wouldn't work for Trump. it'd be the next guy who's elected
Right.
president can't be a convicted felon.
Did you see that the FBI and all these other government agencies, obviously they're just firing people left and right. I mean, they're firing tons of people, but they did offer to buy them out. They said, if you leave willingly without us having to fire you, we'll give you 8 months pay.
Yeah, they're
I
doing
mean,
it
hey,
to a
that's a
bunch of
pretty
people.
good fucking deal. I mean,
Yeah, that's a nice deal, but you can't buy out a bunch of career civil servants who know how to do their job just so Trump can then go in and replace them with his cronies.
I'm hoping it's just replacing them with less people. Because, like, I would argue that, like, there's probably more than enough staff in the government. You know what I mean? Like, they're paying more than enough people. Because I would imagine, like, say you get hired at the White House or whatever, this agent, the FBI, whatever, even if you're just a lower level guy, and there's a position that opens up, like, hey, my cousin needs a job, maybe I could get him in. And I'm sure that happens a lot. You end up hiring people, especially too. We do know that like DEI is a thing that they did pass the thing that you got to have so many trans or so many gays in there. So I mean, like there was a lot of people that were hired that weren't maybe necessarily the best for the job, but maybe just fit a certain criteria or checked a certain box.
Yeah,
Much like
right.
happened with affirmative action, in your lifetime where you've seen a lot of people that are like, well, wait, like, so this guy was more qualified, but you had to hire this guy because you got to have so many black people working
No.
here.
What I saw is a lot of people getting into college who really didn't cut the mustard to get into college, but he's black, so we'll let him in.
Because if they didn't take so many blacks, then they were accused of being racist. So it's
Exactly.
like, so it
So
was a
so
snowball
so they
effect.
wouldn't get the federal funding if they didn't let so many blacks in.
But what's weird, so they essentially have created almost more racism, if not racism altogether. It's
It was backwards racism. They wouldn't let whites in because they had to let blacks in.
right. So it's like if the basis of racism is whatever judging based on the color of your skin or your race or gender or whatever whatever. I mean, regardless, you're doing that either way you look at it. Whether you only picked him because he's black or you didn't pick him because he's black, it's the same. It's really weird that like they can't see that it is essentially the same.
Yeah,
If I only hired you because you're gay, that's
yeah,
not right either.
yeah. But the African Americans like the reverse racism because they aren't the ones who the racism is going against. It's racism working in their favor. Well, we don't care if it's racism as long as I'm getting hired.
Well,
I'm good with that.
and it's probably
See,
like that with any group.
it makes up for my great grandpa getting lynched.
Well, and I mean, there's a lot of people that feel like they deserve reparations and all kinds of stuff, which I think is a little bit of a stretch. I mean,
Yeah, this whole thing about, well, we got to get reparations. So I'm going to pay you because your great grandfather picked cotton? I don't think so.
well, and I
And I'm glad he picked cotton because my great grandfather needed some pants.
and this gilded cotton shirt sure is. Yeah, sure
and,
are
by,
glad that the whites were
and,
able to make all these shirts out of the cotton they picked. It was a
and by
team
the way,
effort.
my great grandparents arrived here in 1873. All you people were free by then. So there's no reparations being paid by me because we had nothing to do with slavery.
Which is always my argument. I mean, that's why I was talking down there about like, okay, when did that actually happen? Because that was like over 200 years ago, I think, at this point. So I mean, like, nobody
Get
living
over
right
it.
now.
Get over it, people. It's over. And by the way, didn't we just have a black president a little while ago? I mean,
You guys
he
are doing fine.
he attained the highest office in the land. He did better than I'm ever going to do.
And he had 2 terms.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
he wasn't just like, we fucked up, we can't do that again. No, we voted for him twice.
we not only did he get elected, he got reelected.
Yep. The
And
first time I voted for Obama. You know what I
and
mean? Like,
and when he got elected, and then everyone's like, "Hey, we like that. Let's reelect him. He's a damn good. Let's
yeah.
make him president again." And
They could
so
call it the Black House.
and so he didn't fuck up at all. He didn't fuck up. I mean, Trump, all sorts of people in his administration ended up going to prison or had to resign because they were going to get in trouble or
That
shit.
Steve Bannon just got out of prison. He was in prison for
Yeah,
4 fucking years.
yeah. No one in the Trump administration, I mean, in the Obama administration, got into any trouble at all.
Did you
No
see
one.
who was?
Although a member of his administration, check this out. A member of his administration just got arrested because he flew all the way to England to fuck a 9-year-old girl.
Wait, whose administration
A member of the Obama administration
flew all the way to England?
flew all the way to England. He had a teddy bear packed with some condoms in his
No.
suitcase.
Don't people know there's cameras everywhere and like flight records and like I mean
No, don't they know that when they open your suitcase and they find the teddy bear and the condoms packed together, it looks bad?
at least he brought a condom, I guess.
No, the thing I wonder is, did he really think he's going to knock up a 9-year-old girl?
I mean, I don't know with all the hormones in the food, mate. Bob Menendez.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
So
He was the congressman who was taking payoffs.
yeah, from Egypt.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I think he was one from Biden's administration. I
Yeah.
don't.
No,
so,
he wasn't in the administration. He was a congressman from New York.
Okay, so he wasn't actually involved with the White House.
No,
He was a
no.
congressman, but yeah,
He was a congressman from New York who was taking payoffs. He was acting as an independent agent for a foreign country by
that's
taking
crazy
payoffs
to be charged with that.
by
That's
taking
like
payoffs from Egypt to I don't know to
influence his office, I'm sure, some way.
influence somebody.
But it makes you wonder, like, what does Egypt want influence over here for? I think a lot of it has
Some Egyptian businessmen wanted some law change, something
like
like
it's
that.
some Egyptian prince or some shit. I mean,
Yeah,
whatever
yeah,
the president over there.
yeah,
'Cause
yeah.
these are like stamped gold bars. He had fucking stacks of gold bars from
Like
this.
he had like $100,000 worth of gold bars.
When they showed
Oh,
like
and they gave him like a Ferrari, and they gave him
they gave his
clothes.
wife a Mercedes. I heard he got
Oh,
a Mercedes
and a
for his
Mercedes.
wife.
Yeah, yeah. He got some shit.
Yeah, they called him Gold Bar Bob overseas.
Yeah,
That's what they
yeah.
called him. Like,
So when he was being sentenced, he was crying.
District of New York, would prosecutors
yeah,
allow
he
a
was
witness
begging Trump for
to
a
walk
pardon.
away from over 10 criminal charges, including defrauding the United States government, so that they can get him to lie on the stand. Welcome to the Southern District of New York, the Wild West of political prosecutions. President Trump is right. This process is political, and it's corrupted to the core. I hope President Trump cleans up the cesspool and restores the integrity to the...
Trump was right. The justice system's corrupt.
No,
so much evidence.
he realized he's about to become someone's bitch.
Oh, he's a big fucking porky fella too. I mean, I'm telling you what, you can just see that. He's not gonna get away.
No, see, if I was in his situation, I'd be spending every day I was in jail doing push-ups and shit and
Yep.
fucking muscling up because I know when I get to prison, I'm gonna have to fight somebody. So I'd be getting in shape because I know
Well-
there's a fight coming down sometime in the future.
Well, and I don't know if he'll go to like federal prison or how that works. I don't know. If
Oh
it's
no,
a
he's a
federal
congressman.
crime.
He's going to go to some nice sanctuary prison where he's not going to have a lot of
Probably.
trouble. They're going to look out for his ass.
But he's not a young man, and they sentenced him to 11 years. I mean, he might fucking die in there. You know, like
so it goes. You know, you do the crime, you do the time. That's the way it is.
Well, and that's how it should be, and it doesn't matter who it
I'm
is.
sorry. Am I supposed to feel sorry for some rich ass congressman who commits a crime?
Yeah.
That's life, bitch.
I do feel bad for the CEO though. They got shot point blank in the street. Do you remember? We haven't talked much, but do you remember when this happened? That Luigi, whatever fucking dude, came out and shot him like
Yeah.
right in the middle of the street. I mean, like that was an assassination in broad daylight. Like, I mean, it was at night, but just walked up and shot him. I mean, like that, whatever that.
Oh yeah, because he was a CEO of
Some health fucking whatever organization, you know.
an insurance company.
Yeah, health insurance, I think. or
Yeah,
something,
yeah,
but-
and he had apparently the company. What the hell? There we go. There we
Right.
go. Okay. Anyway, no.
All these.
The guy was turned down for health insurance or something, and someone
he
got
had
sick.
like a
and
good track record. He was like a bright young man. I mean, like they showed some of his, social media in his college and stuff like. I mean, like didn't look unstable or fucking crazy.
he was upset about something, so he shot the guy.
it's just like out of a movie. Like he just walked up and just fucking shot him right in the back and just walked away. I was just like, I couldn't believe it. And now I mean, I'm sure there's all these people like, in support of the guy who pulled the trigger.
Well,
You
yeah,
know,
because it's a health organization, health insurance. They've
Yeah.
all been screwed over by health insurance.
Big pharma. I mean, like people have been dying for years. Nobody's getting cured. I think people are sick of it. They realize that it's just all about money. It's just keep trickling out that money out of you until you fucking die. It's like it's a sad system. They're not healing anybody. You know.
Yeah, well, so
And,
it goes.
well, how do you feel about RFK?
Oh my God.
I mean, like, how do you feel about RFK before Trump and then after Trump? Because I mean, I didn't always know he was going to go and endorse Trump. That was not expected because he's been against Trump on a lot of things.
Yeah, because he was
Yeah.
running for president, so he was down on Trump
Yeah.
because he was running for president.
I guess whenever your chances bomb, you might as well jump on the winning ship, huh?
Yeah, so everyone jumps on the Trump ship, hoping well, if Trump wins, maybe he'll give me
Oh,
something
did you see all
solid.
the people that just flooded down there to try to kiss ass and shit? It's like,
And if you're the best ass kisser, then you get a position with Trump.
yeah. I mean, I'm hoping that things, are a little bit more moderate. Like I said, I support the weeding out the criminals and people that are here illegally. Unfortunately, like there are laws. Like I mean, I pulled it up in another conversation that if you look at the immigration laws, like of even Canada, our closest neighbor, I mean, like their laws are fucking crazy. You can't just walk into Canada. You got to have approval from the Canadian government. You got to have a job when you get there. Like a lot of things in
Or,
place.
or at least show that you have means to support
Yeah.
yourself for a
Well,
while.
that's the thing too. You can't come in there and live off the Canadian government. There's no welfare for you when you come across. So I mean, you have to have things in place, and you have to have something to contribute. So I mean, it's not like it's we're the only ones that have borders or laws. And these laws that are being enforced have been in place. He hasn't changed the laws. I mean, essentially, I mean, he's just enforcing the laws that have been in place for however long. Because you can't just come across without being vetted or
Well, people just, it's like all right, they would come across the border into Arizona and they would blend in with the
Oh, you've
crowds.
probably seen it all the time. I didn't even think
Yeah,
how close you are to the border.
they would blend in with the crowds of Mexicans who were in Arizona, and you couldn't tell Juan Gomez from his cousin Juan Gomez, who just came over from
Well,
Mexico.
that's the trouble. They all have the same fucking
No!
name.
Here's the thing that really used to get me: women who were like 9 or 9.5 months pregnant, who were just about to drop their babies, would come up to visit her cousin Juanita in Tucson just before she was about to deliver, and then, oh my God, this Mexican bitch would go into labor and she would come to the University of Arizona hospital and have her baby, and that baby would be born in the United States and would get automatic American citizenship. And then she
That's a
would,
real story. You know
oh,
that
oh, my
happened.
mom would see this happen all the time.
Oh my
Because
god!
my mom used to do medical records at the hospital. So
Right.
she would see this happen all the time. Then the lady would take her baby home who has American citizenship, and the kid would grow up, come to the border, go, yeah, I've got American citizenship, and I'm bringing my
That
mom
fucking
across with
easy.
me.
That easy. Right, with the birthright citizenship, then you're right across.
Then they come right back in the United States with their birthright citizenship, and you
Wow.
can't stop them because they were born in
That's the
Tucson,
thing about a
Arizona.
baby is essentially is when that's coming. Yeah, I mean like you just gotta wait 9 months
You
to
just
come
got to wait
across.
9 months and go up and see cousin Juanita. And while you're
Wow.
visiting your cousin, oh, I'm having my
And
baby.
and see, this has just been speculation.
And they go down and have the baby for nothing.
Oh yeah, right. No insurance. They don't
No
need to pay
insurance,
for
nothing.
anything.
They don't pay for a damn thing. So that baby gets born for nothing and it automatically gets birthright citizenship, which Trump is trying to throw out.
But this is why. This is why right here. This is what they've been saying on the news is all bullshit. They're saying that oh no, Mexicans don't just wait till they're gonna have a baby then come across just to gain
Oh, yes,
citizenship.
they do.
Oh yes, they do. That's what the fucking problem is. There's a lot of
And my
people
mother
that
used
might
to
have
see
been
it
born here
all the time.
accidentally and have a
Because
right.
my mother
But
used to transcribe medical records for the university.
that's exactly
So,
what the
so
fuck
she
they're
so
saying
she
isn't
was my mom
happening.
would spend 8 hours a day transcribing medical records. And so
Wow.
she saw it all the
Well,
time.
who pays for that fucking surgery? Like, is that just
The
where government?
the citizens of Arizona paid for that.
Right,
That's who.
taxes pay
Uh-huh.
for it. So every
Because
single,
our taxes supported the university and the university hospital.
and you know how much it costs to have a baby. It's not cheap. It's really fucking expensive.
Yeah.
So think about
Plus
how
the
many
cost
people.
of the translator right there.
Well, and like, how do you even know what they need if you can't? You know what I mean? Like, right, you got to have a translator. You got to have somebody there. I mean, probably don't have identification. I mean,
No,
like,
you don't know if they've had any doctors. They've been to see a doctor at all during the 9 months before she
right.
showed up in Tucson and had that baby.
Don't know if they have diseases,
Nothing.
viruses.
Nothing.
Like, because that was the other thing that was so funny too. That, like, during the whole COVID fucking thing too. Like, oh, we're so worried about COVID, but are you testing all the assholes that are coming across from fucking Mexico and China and all these? Like, because they weren't testing anybody at the border.
You
How do you
can't
think this?
test them. Thousands of people a day are coming
That's
across.
what I mean. Like, yeah. So you're all making us all
'Cause
stay home,
the-
but
the-
letting them fucking run wild.
And there were places on the border between like Nogales and Douglas and stuff, and between Douglas and New Mexico. There are places on the border that aren't watched because there's just hundreds of miles of desert, empty desert. There's
Right.
no roads out there. There's
Right.
no way to get out there. So they're not seen because there's no one out there in that part of the border.
Right. Well, and that's why the
And
coyotes and the
and
smugglers all fucking use them.
and the border. When I first showed up in Arizona back in '73, the border used to be just some fence posts and a little bit of barbed wire fence.
Like,
And
how high? That was the border.
that was the border, man. It was just barbed wire fence, man. That was the border.
What? You can just
The
hop
border,
over
the,
it.
yeah, the border was nothing, man. The border was just like barbed wire fence. Yeah, it was like,
That's all it was.
yeah,
I
it was
mean,
just
you
border.
would think that there's
You-
always been armed guards or
No,
something.
man, it was just a little piece of fence. Because the border used to be nothing.
Right.
Back in the 1800s, the border was just like, hey, there's the border. Okay, man, see you. Border was nothing.
But what changed? Just drugs and
I used to
smuggling?
go down to Nogales when I was like 14, and we would go down to Nogales. There was like Nogales, United States, Nogales, Arizona, and then there was Nogales, Sonora, and you just walk through a tunnel right across to Mexico.
What?
And so one time we bought this leather bag, this nice leather bag, and it was packed full of papers. And so it could have been packed full of heroin. My
Right.
dad carries it back across, and the guards are right there. They go, "Hey, you have a nice day, sir." They didn't even search the bag. We could have had it packed full of heroin. My dad just carried it right across. They go, "Yeah, I'll see you later." My dad just carried that bag right across.
What happened? I
My
mean, these
dad
people just
brought a
started-
bag across. I'm like, "Damn, Dad, I should have packed that full of some drugs."
Right. I guess that's what they probably just started realizing. Like, hey, wait, we should probably start bringing some stuff over to sell. Nobody's
Yeah.
watching it. So I
Yeah.
guess it just was because it was unbanned.
But now to get into Mexico, you have to have a passport. They've tightened that shit down.
Well, you would think, like I said, I mean, realistically, they should at least be some kind of tracking of who's coming in and who's out. Like I said, especially
Yeah.
like you got all of this problems now.
But I
you
mean,
know, like-
at most I had to like pull out an identification card. When it got older, I had to show them like my driver's
but
license.
you're a
to get across.
legitimate, citizen.
Oh,
you know,
also,
so it's like-
when I showed up, I'd be like, "Hey, do I look like I'm a Mexican?" Seriously, all right.
maybe in the right lighting. I don't know.
Well, if I had a dark enough tan, I mean,
Yeah, I
one
was
time
gonna
I did
say.
pass as a Mexican down there. Yeah, but when I had a dark enough tan, I passed as a
I
Mexican.
can see it, a little bit of a mustache
And,
going.
and my dad, these ladies used to think that he was an Indian. No, my dad looked like an Indian.
Holy shit, that's crazy.
Yeah, no, he did.
Man, that's unbelievable to think. So I mean, that wasn't that long ago. So I mean, like at some point they must have just started just taking advantage of it, just started bringing drugs and I'm sure cigarettes.
Oh, they've
like-
been bringing drugs across.
This-
Oh, so, her mother had this friend, Michelle. It was one of her best friends. Well, Michelle was the girlfriend of this guy who made all his money. He had a tunnel from Mexico up to a warehouse in this small town down in like Douglas.
Man.
And this guy made millions bringing tons of cocaine through the tunnel.
Oh my god.
He would smuggle tons of
Straight from
cocaine.
Mexico.
He smuggled tons of cocaine from Mexico into Arizona through this tunnel.
Holy fuck! Like I mean, like it's just hard to imagine. Like I said, like that's
Oh yeah, he brought a lot of cocaine across. Yeah, He's connected with the Mexican mafia right
The
now.
cartel.
Yeah, he went across to Mexico to hang out with the cartel, and he
Holy
married
shit.
he married into the cartel.
Oh, what?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
That's a bold fucking move.
Tiger's a bold
You better
motherfucker.
hope that fucking marriage works
Tiger
out.
is one bold motherfucker. You don't fuck with Tiger at all.
Well, what, that would be like Mexican, so that's like a Latina, right?
Yeah. But Tiger is just a bold motherfucker entirely. You don't fuck with Tiger at all.
But I wouldn't want to fuck with a cartel daughter's father. You know what I mean?
No,
Like I
no.
wouldn't even fucking. I wouldn't skate that way
No.
anywhere.
No, so
No thanks.
Tiger used to make his money. He would get some coke, like close to damn pure coke, and he'd go around to people he knew that like had a habit and shit, and he'd drop some coke off at their house and go, "Okay, I want you to sell this for me. I'll be back in 2 weeks, and I want this amount of money." He named the amount of money he wanted from them. He goes, "You have this much money for me, or I'm kicking your fucking ass."
And just press them to do it.
Or kill you, or what? I don't know what he told him. He said, "You have this much money for me, or else."
Holy fuck.
If you've made it this far, you might as well hit the subscribe button.
Like we've already talked. Like he's met Elizabeth Warren. He's met Bernie Sanders. Tell me about Sinbad.
Oh, I know.
Yeah. Oh, Sinbad. Sinbad comes to. We used to live.
Because this was Arizona too.
Yeah,
or
yeah.
Was,
Yeah.
We lived in an apartment complex in Tucson, and the kids who lived down below us, their mother had an affair with Sinbad. Or she was there one night when he was doing a concert or something, and anyway, she ended up with one of Sinbad's kids. So Sinbad would come to visit every once in a while.
That's fucking wild. Right next
Yeah.
door.
So this kid was always talking about, "My dad is Sinbad. My dad is Sinbad. My dad is Sinbad." What wasn't she always talking like that? Yeah. "Don't mess with me. My dad is Sinbad."
Yeah, he was there the 1 week, and I couldn't play. And I don't know who now. Now I know.
Yeah.
Which is funny because you could probably Google right now Sinbad's kids, find a picture, and be like, "There's that bitch."
Yeah,
She
and
probably still
inspiration.
walks around like, "My
Yeah,
dad's Sinbad.
yeah.
My dad's Sinbad."
Yeah,
Awesome.
but seriously, what is Sinbad these days?
Nobody.
Right.
Nobody would even know who we're talking about.
Yeah, seriously, it ain't like he's Chris Rock. Now, if you said my dad is Chris Rock, I'd be like, yeah, okay, that's interesting. Yeah.
He's a bit of a one-hit wonder. But yeah, I mean, you've been around. You've seen some really interesting things, man. You know,
Oh,
it's
yeah,
quite a wild ride you've been on.
I've had quite the life, considering, I damn near killed myself on a motorcycle when I was 21.
Jeez.
And I've come back from that, and had 4 great kids, 2 wives and 4 great kids. I've lived a pretty good life. So,
Yeah, man. I'm glad you used your head, man. You didn't go to the military. You fucking. Yeah.
didn't go to the military and get screwed up over in Germany and stuff. Because back then, the military wasn't offering you all the great options it is now. What they would do is you join the army, and they'd send you to Germany because everyone feared the USSR back then. They thought the USSR was going to invade
So
Europe.
station everybody over there.
So they would station everyone in Germany in case the USSR came through the Fulda Gap and invaded West Germany.
Right.
Because back then there was like the Eastern Bloc, which was like East Germany, Poland, Czechoslovakia, all that. So these countries, which were being held down by the USSR, were all going to join with the USSR and invade Western Europe.
Right.
So you would go to West Germany and sit there because we had a whole bunch of the army in West
You're
Germany.
basically just waiting for something to fucking happen.
So you're just sitting there waiting for the USSR to invade because we were all in fear
Man,
of the
that'd be a
powerful
shitty
USSR.
deployment.
Because, oh man, the USSR, they're going to be bad. They're a scary country, the USSR. Oh, we're so scared they're going to invade. Yeah, look, Russia just tried to invade Ukraine, and Ukraine kicked their ass.
Well, and unfortunately, they had to use a lot of American fucking ammunition and military. You know, like I was so disgusted when they allowed I mean, those were United States missiles that they sent into fucking Russian territory. I was like, here we go. Before Trump takes office, they're gonna start fucking World War III. Like it had me a little bit on edge. Like I don't usually worry too much about what's happening, but
Yeah,
like
but look,
tensions were
that's
high.
that's that's Ukraine using a bunch of U.S. military ammunition
Well,
and,
and
and
we had to
munitions.
give the okay. We would have
Well,
had to say
right.
okay.
So, what would happen if Russia actually went to war against the United States and its allies, and the United States was using United States ammunition and munitions against Russia?
I think it's a lose-lose for everybody involved. I don't
No,
think anybody wins that fucking war.
well, I don't think Russia wins that fucking war. I mean, Russia got its ass kicked by Ukraine alone.
Yeah, but we're talking about nuclear fucking weapons. I think is what it would escalate to. Like that's what I worry about.
Well, I
'Cause
don't think it's going to happen anytime in the next 4 years because Putin really likes the
no,
way Trump kisses his ass.
well, and it's a mutual. I mean, it has to be a love-hate relationship. You know what I mean? Like it has to be a mutual respect. It's just like you know, um, what do they say? Friends close, enemies closer, or something like that. I would imagine. Like if you had to worry about him the most, I mean, those are the people that you'd want to be on your best side. You know what I mean? Like I would understand that as far as diplomacy. But like there's a lot of shit that we shouldn't be involved in. We shouldn't be over there. I don't give a fuck about rebuilding the Gaza Strip. I mean, if those people need help, I mean, like that's where like this US aid, stop spending $35 million on transgender fucking bullshit and send money to these countries to help them be replayed, put somewhere else. I mean, like there's got
But
to be
but
something.
but I think there are probably some really good carpenters in Italy and France and Germany, and they'd be willing to go in and do the work.
You would think.
We don't need to have Trump send anybody in
What? Oh, okay. Yeah, we can wrap it up.
because I think Trump is trying to get everyone out so Trump can go in and Trump can build and Trump can put up a golf course and Trump can put up apartment buildings
He
and a
did say it would make
casino.
a nice resort, waterfront property.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't trust Trump's motives.
Yeah.
I think that Trump should have the United States pony up some money and hire some carpenters from Italy and France and Germany and Greece and have the European Union send the workmen in to do the work. And the
Well,
United States should put and sure, if you want to send some soldiers in to safeguard the people of Gaza to make sure Israel doesn't come in and attack them anymore,
right.
that's fine.
Well, that's what I
But
was
we don't
thinking.
need to kick the Gazans out.
No, I mean, like, because I looked at the Gaza Strip. I mean, like, they're bombing mostly northern Gaza, and where like the main city of Gaza is. Like, I mean, the farther end of it. I mean, there's a few spots that they've hit, but I mean, it seems like there's some other places that they could probably put them. While they're rebuilding the mainly affected areas.
But
Like
have all the people of Gaza. I mean, it's going to be they're going to be tightly cramped, but have them all move to the south part
right.
and give them tents and houses and stuff to live in there while they rebuild the northern part. And then when they rebuild the northern part, have them move back up there and then rebuild the southern part, okay, or something like that. But don't think you can kick their ass out of the Gaza Strip. You guys can come back in 10 or 15 years. We'll let you know, okay? We'll
Well,
see. We'll
it's
see if
got
the
to
Israelis let you back in 10 or 15 years.
it's
And where are they going to go live?
right. It's got to be their choice. They got to have the say whether
I
they
mean,
stay
I
or
mean,
go. They might be able to convince a certain amount of people. You might be able to pay people off to give up property, give them a better place to go. But like, you have to give them the choice because otherwise, then you're no different than the people that forced them out in the beginning.
yeah.
Like
I mean, Trump's like, well, we'll send them someplace beautiful and wonderful. There is no place beautiful and wonderful. It's all ugly, dry, nasty, dirty
yeah,
desert over there. It's
yeah,
all nasty. I mean, it's all nasty
yep.
desert.
It's a big sand trap.
It's not like, oh, there's some beautiful forest we can send them to.
We're gonna be acquiring Greenland. They could go there.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing. Why does Trump think we're going to get Greenland from Denmark? Denmark has owned Greenland for like 1,000 years.
I don't know, but I understand why now. I didn't understand what the whole
Oh,
idea
oh, oh,
behind it
okay.
was.
Enlighten me. Why?
Well, because of China's influence there and how they use this part of the ocean, like I think
China's had influence in Greenland.
well, as far as being able to get close enough to maybe fire upon us or something. So
We
from what I
we have
understand,
we have military bases in Greenland.
right, right. But I don't know what the whole idea is. Like if they have, they have been, from what I have read, like China's been slowly trying to, like, either buy property or companies or fund things in Greenland just so that they have influence and control over certain, canals or whatever, whether it's
There's nothing in
shipping.
Greenland. There's nothing up
Yeah.
there.
No, there's like 50 people that live in Greenland. Like, it's literally a wasteland. But but I mean, for the most part, I understand. Like I said, I mean, like for security, I get it. Like if you're worried about them being able to, get us in there. I don't really understand the Panama Canal. The whole
There's
taking
another
that
thing.
back.
We're gonna go back. We're gonna take the Panama Canal back from Panama. We gave the Panama Canal to Panama years ago. The Panama Canal. There's a company, a Chinese company that's based in Hong Kong, that is that they had a bidding war or something. This company in Hong Kong got the contract to run the Panama Canal instead of some company out of like Rhode Island or something. Some American company lost out, so it's been
So it's probably a bidding war in China. Just
so the Americans have been pissed off ever since because this Chinese company. It wasn't a company in China itself because Hong Kong wasn't even part of China when this happened, but China has since acquired Hong Kong, so now it is a Chinese company.
okay.
Okay, so the Chinese don't actually have the Panama Canal. A company that is in China now, but they weren't in China before, has a contract to run like the entrance to the Panama Canal. But
Yeah,
the
I mean,
Chinese don't have the Panama Canal.
I mean, I could see maybe some concern, because I would say, like, I mean, I've always said it, like, before Russia, before anybody else, even like the Middle East, because the Middle East is kind of erratic. But like for the most part, I've always just worried about China. China's the scariest, man, because they're so much more advanced than we are at so many different levels. Like, it's scary.
Also, if they start marching their soldiers towards us, we can't shoot all the possible soldiers they can march towards
Oh, they
us.
probably outnumber us 10-1.
Oh, easily, and they're fanatical. Also, if you want to get in hand-to-hand combat with them, I can tell you those guys are trained in martial arts
Well,
like
and
we are not.
and we know even in your lifetime that they restricted the birthright, that you could have,
Oh,
multiple
that
boys. You could have military capable boys, but not so many
that
girls.
that backfired on them because everyone was killing their daughters and just raising them. Now they have a generation of nothing but boys who cannot find
I
wives.
know. I was just funny. I was like, oh my god, it's just China's just a bunch of single horny men that can't find women.
So
There's
so
no women.
so they might have a problem now with the fact that this generation cannot have children. So the population might die off because
China's probably having babies outside the womb already anyway. Artificial fucking whatever you want to call
well,
it.
yeah, but
Insemination.
you can't do that. You got to have you can create babies outside the womb, but you have to place that embryo into a woman's womb to carry it the full 9 months.
So they would have to start that
you,
first.
you have to start it, but you need a woman to produce a baby, no matter what.
Just one.
Women are the key to life.
Just one. They'll just keep harvesting her.
A woman can only produce so many babies, right, Laura?
We need 5 women.
Even 5 women.
You mean
A woman can only give birth to so many babies, and then she's done. 31. She had 31 children.
which means she's planning to have more.
So yeah.
How many of them were triplets?
Yeah, were they individual? Were any of them twins?
Yeah.
Interesting question. Good question.
There must have been a lot of twins and triplets there.
I would hope. Boy, if those are individual times.
31
holy
years
shit.
of having kids? Boy, someone's pussy's worn out.
Either that or her stomach looks like a tic-tac-toe board.
I tell you. 31 and counting? Oh, I want to have 31 more.
You want to actually just keep her open. We're going to have another one.